Chapter 1191. The strongest threat would always be when someone knows your weakness like the back of their hand, but you know nothing about them. The unknown was the most terrifying. Right now, Huang Shatian was facing such a threat. His combat prowess was unrivaled in Tiandao's sacred academy. Other than a few people, he could sweep through everyone else. Threatening Huang Shatian sounded like a joke, but earlier, he was actually threatened. That expert from the Myriad Devil Islands said that there was someone who didn't wish for him to participate in this battle. The simpler the words, the more arrogant they sounded. However, he didn't even know who the other party was, let alone know their weakness. But from that short exchange earlier, Huang Shatian understood that the other party definitely had the strength to slowly kill the people of the Nine Emperors' immortal state. Other than him, no one else would be able to survive. If he knew who the other party was helping, he would similarly be able to threaten them. But earlier, that devil expert said that even if he, Huang Shatian, slaughtered everyone here, it had nothing to do with them. It was like they didn't care at all. Huang Shatian didn't know if what he said was true or false. Also, it was true that these devil experts didn't participate in the battle earlier. Hence, they were even more mysterious. No one knew who they were helping. Even if I'm not here, so what of it? Huang Shaishan's expression was cold. In that battle earlier, the Namhuang clan's alliance would definitely be heavily injured. Maybe they would scatter and flee in different directions. As for the people on his side, there was no doubt that he would win this battle. His gaze stared at that gradually vanishing figure as he directly stepped out, moving towards that person. He wanted to see who it was that dared to threaten him, Huang Shatian. The four experts from the Judiciary Hall soon discovered that Huang Shatian was following behind them. They frowned and turned. Devil might gushed forth as they stepped out, attacking Huang Shatian again. Devil cultivators were tyrannical and warlike. Even if Huang Shatian has already seen the gate to the immortal king realm, so what of it? They were the subordinates of the Judiciary Priestess. How would they fear battle? Another earth-shattering battle erupted. The power of human emperors clashed violently against the tyrannical Judiciary Hall, shaking the heavens and earth. However, neither of them could do anything to the other. This battle lasted for a long time before both sides stopped. But none of them had any intentions to leave, they were coldly staring at each other. Very well, I initially thought that you would be aware. Since you are so warlike, from today onwards, you, Huang Shan, wouldn't be able to do anything. One of the devil cultivators coldly spoke. Who were they? They were the Judiciary Department of the Judiciary Hall under the Myriad Devil Sovereign. All along, only others would respect them. Those who were targeted by them would never be able to eat or sleep in peace. Since Huang Shatian took the initiative to find trouble with them, their Judiciary Department would naturally play with him. In truth, this was also the case. From today onwards, Huang Shatian had never been able to shake off the shadow of the four experts from the Judiciary Hall. Wherever Huang Shatian went, the four devil experts would follow. Both sides fought many times, but they couldn't do anything to the other party. Huang Shan was infuriated, but the other party still followed him relentlessly. Such tenacity caused Huang Shatian to truly understand what sort of existences the devil cultivators of the Myriad Devil Islands were. In the blink of an eye, several months have already passed since the battle that occurred in the sky-connecting realm. The experts from the White Tiger People's Alliance began a frenzied pursuit of the experts from the Namhuang clan. The experts from the Namhuang clan all fled to a remote location in the Sacred Academy, causing the experts from the White Tiger People's Alliance to have no choice but to split up and hunt them down. Although the risk was higher, it wasn't to the extent where they only managed to kill a small number of people. Among these people, there were experts from the Evergreen Kingdom who were heavily injured. Under the joint attack of the White Tiger people, they even crippled their immortal foundation. They didn't believe that the Evergreen Kingdom would still act against them for the sake of a single disciple with nobility. Another expert from the Namhuang clan was humiliated by the White Tiger people and was almost tainted. In order not to lose her reputation, this holy maiden of the Namhuang clan made the same choice as Nanfeng Chun back then. She transformed into nirvanic blood and fled this place, searching for a companion from the Namhuang clan. At this moment, this companion of hers was gathered together with several experts from the Namhuang clan. Namhuang Yunshi was also among them. Staring at the translucent droplet of blood in her palm, their hearts were dripping with blood. This was already the second person who died. Those who could enter the Tiandao Sacred Academy were all elites, and the vast majority of them were holy maidens. But now, there were already 2 who were forced to undergo nirvanic rebirth. What should we do? A holy maiden asked. Ever since we were blasted out of the sky-connecting realm, we have no way to gather together. In addition to the fact that Huang Shatian is here, we have no other choice but to flee. That holy maiden sighed. She kept the droplet of nirvanic blood as a look of sorrow flashed in her eyes. In another sacred academy, in the midst of a mountain range, a group of experts could be seen. Jun Mingchen was among them. Before this, they encountered a group of experts who were pursuing them and narrowly lost their lives. Luckily, they met with the reinforcements of an expert from the Battle Saint tribe, allowing them to escape. But even so, they were still in a miserable state and were still hiding from their pursuers. We have to gather together again before we have a chance to retaliate. Jun Mingchen spoke. How can it be so easy? Let's just drag it out with them for now. If time drags on, they would definitely not be able to gather together to hunt us down. I don't believe that they wouldn't be able to cultivate in the sacred academy. A person coldly spoke. Do we still have to flee? I'm unwilling to do so. Jun Mingchen inclined his head and stared at the air. I wonder if senior brother Qin Wenin has exited yet. If he is, he would definitely kill the people from the White Tiger people. In that case, with Huang Shatian here, senior brother. Right now, Jun Mingchen was somewhat worried about Qin Wentian's safety. They were defeated. This meant that Qin Wentian would have to face the covetous gazes of many experts the moment he exited. In another remote location of the Sacred Academy, a heaven-shaking, earth-shattering battle was currently occurring. Over 10 experts surrounded 4 people. 2 of them were from the Battle Saint tribe while the other 2 were GD's followers. Among the 2 GD's followers, one of them was none other than Qing. Madam Qin, you can leave first. The cultivation bases of the 2 experts from the Battle Saint tribe were very high. They were fighting against a junior apprentice brother of Qing. There were many injuries on their bodies, but they still stood there unmoving, protecting Qing'er behind them. Qing'er was the same as Mo Qingqing. They were both women of the Saint Lord. Go! Qing'er's senior apprentice sister also shouted. Although she was proficient in spatial energy, her blood still dyed her robes red when she was surrounded by enemies. Don't worry, senior apprentice sister won't have any problems escaping. She continued. Qing'er's countenance was still as cold as ever. Her ice-cold eyes swept over those pursuers as she blasted out a spatial barrier, blocking the path of her opponent. The young woman stepped out, spatial energy radiating from her body as she instantly appeared far away. When her opponent saw Qing'er's spatial energy, he instantly knew that he wouldn't be able to catch up to her after a few moments. The violent battle was still going on, but Qing'er had already gone far away. She was still moving forward, and there was a hint of sorrow in her eyes. In those beautiful eyes, the face of a young man could be seen. It was none other than the silhouette of Qin Wenyin. He who cultivated in the sky-connecting immortal rock in the sky-connecting realm. How could he know how intense this battle was? Another few days passed. Today, Huang Shatian arrived before a secret realm located in the Sacred Academy. However, the 4 devil experts were like ghosts that wouldn't disperse, following behind him. Staring at a cave dwelling in the secret realm, Huang Shatian stepped out and directly entered. He wanted to see how long these 4 could pursue him for. They better not give him an opportunity or he would definitely take their lives. In the sky-connecting realm, at the location of the sky-connecting immortal rock, this place was still filled with experts. During these years, the Supreme Might rankings didn't have too many changes. Today, it has already been a long time since the battle in the sky-connecting realm, but the memories of that battle were still fresh in everyone's minds. Even now, that battle has yet to end. It was unknown how many experts from the Namhuang clan alliance have already fallen. It's rumored that Huang Shatian is trapped and can't act. The ones dealing with Huang Shutian were 4 terrifying devil cultivators from the myriad devil islands. I wonder what's going on. Someone spoke. Back then, after the battle in the sky connecting realm ended, a white tiger wanted to act against Mo Qingqing. It was none other than an extraordinary female devil cultivator from the myriad devil islands who acted to save it. Maybe the ones dealing with Huang Shutian might have a connection to her. That's right. Back then, when the White Tiger people fought against the Namhuang clan, the Sacred Academy was enraged. There were 2 groups of devil cultivators that appeared, and that female was one of them. Everyone spoke. At this moment, exclamations of shock rang out. The gazes of the crowd turned in the direction of the sky connecting immortal rock. After that, the rock opened as a figure stepped out from within. This figure was extraordinarily handsome and exuded a transcendent aura. His pitch-black eyes seemed to be able to see through everything. He glanced at the surroundings but didn't see anyone familiar. He couldn't help but to smile as he spoke in a low voice. "Qing Mingchen, little rascal, purgatory, are you guys doing well?" This figure who walked out was none other than Qin Wenyin, who had been cultivating for several years. "They aren't doing well." A voice drifted over, causing Qin Wentian's gaze to stiffen. He inclined his head only to see 2 extraordinary figures appearing there. That young man seemed somewhat familiar. He had once appeared on the Supreme Might rankings back then and was replaced by Qin Wenyin. "Li Yufeng?" Qin Wenyin spoke in a low voice. "You don't have to care about who I am. Many months ago, the Namhuang clan and the White Tiger people had a huge battle, violating the rules of the Sacred Academy. The Sacred Academy was enraged, and for those who participated in the battle between the Namhuang clan and the White Tiger people, they would no longer be protected by the Sacred Academy. After that, the Namhuang clan gathered your friends while the White Tiger people gathered all the major powers in the sky connecting realm. Initially, your friends had the upper hand, but Huang Shutian appeared and reversed the situation, causing your friends to suffer a crushing defeat and be expelled from the sky connecting realm. Right now, they are currently being pursued by the major powers in the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Li Yufeng spoke. The smile on Qin Wentian's face instantly froze. After that, his expression turned incomparably cold as he asked, "Which major powers are participating in this?" 9 Emperors Immortal State, Tenlon Heaven Kingdom, Zidi's Followers, Supreme Sword School, White Tiger People, Thunder God Hall. These are the ones I know of. Li Yufeng spoke. "Sir, do you know where my friends are now?" A cold intent gushed forth from Qin Wenyin. These major powers were all participating. How could Qing'er and the others be fine? "I'm not sure. It's rumored that they fled to a remote location in the Sacred Academy. Most probably, they have long been separated," Li Yufeng replied. "In addition, there should be people watching you here. Once you participate in this battle, once you exit the sky connecting realm, they would be able to kill you. You better take care of yourself. Many thanks for the information." Qin Wendian clasped his hands. After that, his silhouette flashed as he vanished from his original location. Chapter 1192. Qin Wentian's silhouette flickered unceasingly as he sped towards the exit of the sky connecting realm. His angular face was filled with coldness, his deep eyes flickered with killing intent. Naturally, there was also a hint of worry in his eyes. The 9 Emperors Immortal State, Tenlon Heaven Kingdom, Zidi's Followers, the Supreme Sword School, the White Tiger People, the Thunder God Hall. With so many major powers pursuing Qing'er and the others, how could Qin Wentian not be worried? He memorized all the names of these major powers in his heart. The grudges of the past finally erupted under the rules of the Sacred Academy. Since he wanted to kill them, he might as well kill them then. A raging wind gusted by. Qin Wenyin manifested the wings of a great rock as the world buzzed. It was like a bolt of lightning arcing through the sky. Not long after, at one of the exits of the sky connecting realm, Qin Wenyin walked out. He stared at the Tiandao Sacred Academy with a blank look on his face. Qing'er and the others were currently fleeing. He had no idea where they were and what kind of cruel pursuit they were facing. He could only search the Sacred Academies one by one, trying his best to gather his scattered friends together. "Bzizi." A bright light flashed as Qin Wendian directly vanished from sight. Not long after he left, a few figures stepped out from the sky-connecting realm, coldly staring at his vanishing back. After waiting for so long, he finally came out. Next, it would be time to hunt him down. The various major powers formed an alliance. The person they wanted to kill the most was undoubtedly Qin Wendian. Not long after, Qin Wendian stood in the airspace of an ancient hall in the Sacred Academy. The golden peak of the ancient hall was in a sharp shape. His body floated there as he stared into the distance. There should be some of his friends in each Sacred Academy. People from the Battle Saint tribe, the immortal Qinbian Gate of the Heavenly Talisman realm, the Namhuang clan. They were all scattered across the 4 sacred academies. But now, with a single glance, there was no one he knew. His silhouette flickered as he headed towards a certain place below. There were many experts gathered there. Occasionally, the sound of bells would ring out. That place was where the Shizhong Wall was located. Qin Wendian looked at the Shizhong Wall and walked out. First step, second step, third step. 27 steps, 36 steps, 45 steps, 54 steps, 63 steps. Before the Shizhong Wall, the long robes of the young man fluttered in the wind. Boundless energy blasted into Qin Wendian's body, like the chimes of a million bells, hammering on his immortal foundation, his bones, his flesh and blood. Once, Qin Wendian took 81 steps on the Shizhong Wall in a single day. Today, he came here again and took 72 steps in a single breath before he halted. 72 steps, completed in a single breath. This was a place where many geniuses tried their best but failed to reach. However, Qin Wendian didn't pause for even a moment. He only used a single breath to reach this point. The people in the surroundings stared at the silhouette of the young man, feeling his magnificence. Was he borrowing the power of the Shizhong Wall to announce his return? After the 73rd step, the bell chimes rang out. The blood in his body thrummed as his bones trembled. When he released his immortal foundation, a flawless immortal light illuminated the entire space. As the 74th step landed, the majestic energy was like the waves of a tsunami. However, this tsunami wasn't able to obstruct his advance. The 75th step, the 76th step, the 77th step. As his footsteps landed, the heavens and earth shook. Under the reverberation of the bell chimes, this boundlessly vast region was trembling. The entire central region of this sacred academy trembled as the earth rumbled. What a powerful aura, completed in a single breath. Who is it? Who is stepping on the Shizhong Wall? Many cultivators felt their hearts trembling. After that, they all flew towards the direction of the Shizhong Wall. Very swiftly, they arrived here and saw Qin Wendian. The figure on the Supreme Might rankings, the person who once stepped on the 81 steps of the Shizhong Wall in a single day. He has once again returned to this place. As the 78th step landed, the aura from him was too tyrannical and tyrannical. The earth in the surroundings seemed to be on the verge of shattering as cracks appeared, emitting a sound that caused the hearts of those who heard it to tremble. As the 79th step landed, the Shizhong Wall shone with boundless light. This place was like the convergence of a raging storm. That was the convergence of the most violent bell chimes. There was no way for them to vent, but once they were released, it would definitely shake the heavens and earth. At this instant, even those geniuses around Qin Wendian who were stepping on the Shizhong Wall all had unsightly expressions on their faces. They stared at Qin Wendian. This bastard. Just because he came here to step on the Shizhong Wall, he wants the others to retreat? With him here, there was basically no way for the others to step on the Shizhong Wall. Only to see many people directly giving up, leaving this path as they stared at Qin Wendian. As the 80th step landed, the heavens and earth trembled. The bell chimes were incomparably violent and his body felt like it was about to explode. Qin Wendian's robes fluttered in the wind as his black hair fluttered in the wind. His immortal foundation was under the impact of the boundless might and was on the verge of shattering apart. The earth crumbled apart. For those who stepped on the Shizhong Wall, some of them were directly injured as their countenances turned pale. They stared at Qin Wendian. The path that Qin Wendian wanted to walk, was he going to make others have no path to walk? In the air, there were several experts who were following Qin Wenyin. When they saw him stepping on the Shizhong wall, their eyes turned cold. Was he going to announce his return? In that case, it would soon be the time of his death. Qin Wenyin didn't seem to be able to sense the boundless might. The storm of energy accumulated in his body had already risen to the extreme, but he still didn't hesitate to take the final step. As his foot landed, bell chimes gushed forth frenziedly. At this instant, his body seemed to be resonating with the bell chimes of the heavens and earth. "I've returned." As the sound of his voice rang out, it was like the voice of longing from back then. The sound of his voice drifted through the sacred academy in all directions. The wind and clouds howled, or the bell chimes, each chime transformed into a gust of wind that blew into the ears of everyone, announcing his return. "I've returned, I've returned." The bell chimes continued ringing unceasingly. Qin Wenyin has returned. That tyrannical energy continued ravaging Qin Wenyin, wanting to kill him directly. The cracks on the ground grew more and more terrifying. Qin Wenyin inclined his head and stared at the sky. It was like he didn't care about the energy of the Shizhong wall. His perfect immortal foundation shattered and reformed, as though it would never shatter. Although the energy from the bell chimes was still gushing out, this time around he took 81 steps in one go. The accumulated energy was simply too tyrannical. He wanted to declare war against the energy of the Shizhong wall. His long robes were torn apart. Qin Wentian's body was riddled with holes as though he was about to explode. Everyone stared at him in shock. Has this fellow gone mad? Courting death? One of the people following him coldly spoke. However, as the sound of his voice faded, a violent bell chime suddenly gushed into his body. He groaned in misery as a look of terror appeared on his face. After that, with a thunderous boom, his body directly exploded as a rain of blood splattered through the air. The people in the surroundings hurriedly evaded. All of them were incomparably shocked. "I will participate in the battle. The rules of the Sacred Academy will not protect me." Qin Wenyin announced that he would participate in the battle. Another bell chime rang out. Another expert following him felt his heart trembling with fear. He wanted to flee, but how could he have the time? Yet another explosion rang out, and that expert transformed into a rain of blood as his body was smashed into smithereens. How tyrannical! Everyone stared at Qin Wenyin. This man was simply too tyrannical. In a single breath, he took 81 steps, using the accumulated energy of the bell chimes to directly kill a genius, killing him with a single strike, showing no mercy. The earth rumbled. Qin Wentian's body was on the verge of shattering, but he still stood there steadily. How could the Shizhong wall of the Sacred Academy be able to destroy his conviction? How could it destroy his flesh and blood? After 81 steps, he stepped out once more. At this instant, that surge of energy was completely unleashed. Thunderous rumbling sounds rang out as the earth trembled violently. Numerous ancient palaces were directly split apart from the middle. Under the sound of the bell chimes, everything was transformed into dust. "Retreat quickly!" The crowd retreated into the distance. Buildings continued to collapse, and the cracks under their feet grew deeper and deeper. Finally, a thunderous rumble rang out as thousands of bell chimes reverberated throughout the Sacred Academy. From now on, the Shizhong wall of the Tiandao Sacred Academy would no longer exist. At this moment, the Shizhong wall was shattered. However, Qin Wentian's body didn't shatter. "Whoever wants to kill me, I will definitely kill them." Qin Wentian stood amidst the endless dust. He stood with his hands behind his back, like an overlord looking down on the world. Although his cultivation level wasn't high, he already had the demeanor of a peerless expert. The Shizhong wall wanted to kill him, but the Shizhong wall was shattered. Whoever wanted to kill him, he would kill them. With a flash of his silhouette, Qin Wenyin soared into the air and sped away. He wanted to let his friends know that he has returned. In a place extremely far away from the Shizhong wall of the Sacred Academy, Jun Mingchen and several other experts stood in the mountain range. All of a sudden, the sound of bell chimes rang out. He inclined his head and stared at the sky as a smile appeared on his face. "Senior brother Qin has returned." He was using the bell chimes of the Shizhong Wall to announce his return. At a place near a river, there were several maidens of the Namhuang clan walking carefully. At this moment, they inclined their heads as a trace of hope appeared in their hearts. He has returned. However, when facing the domineering Huang Shan, as well as the geniuses of the various major powers, would his return be of any use? In the Sacred Academy, the experts of the Battle Saint tribe who were fleeing for their lives all inclined their heads and stared in the direction of the Shizhong Wall of the Sacred Academy. The Saint Lord has returned. Qin Wentian's silhouette flickered unceasingly. However, at the same time in the region of the Shizhong Wall, a group of people gathered together. When they heard the bell chimes, they knew that it was Qin Wentian's declaration. Their countenances turned cold as an intense killing intent flashed in their eyes. What could he do even if he returned? Since he declared war, he would soon become a corpse. This war was already destined back then in the sky-connecting realm. No one could change the ending. Just a mere Qin Wentian, even if he shattered the Shizhong Wall, what could he change? He could only be angry. There was nothing he could change. A group of experts sped towards the direction Qin Wentian left in. Qin Wentian didn't stop for even a moment as they chased after him. Their eyes were filled with the conviction to kill him. Whoever wanted to kill him, he would definitely kill them. Who didn't know how to speak such arrogant words? Without absolute power, they still dared to be so arrogant. Today would be the doomsday of Qin Wentian. In the wilderness, the yellow sand billowed. Qin Wentian was in the front while his pursuers were behind him. Both parties already knew of each other's existence. In their hearts, an intense killing intent could be felt. Chapter 1193. There were a total of 6 experts pursuing Qin Wentian. Back then when the Namhuang clan and the other experts fled, the White Tiger people chased after them everywhere but to no avail. Hence, they decided to split up into smaller groups and split their strength evenly. The leader of the 6 pursuing Qin Wentian was none other than the innate sword king of the Supreme Sword School, Gu Shao. Back then on the battle platform of the Evergreen Kingdom, he was at the 6th level of Immortal Foundation and was unexcelled in the world. When Qin Wentian first stepped on the Shizhong Wall, he was there as well. He wanted to use a single step to humiliate Qin Wentian, but Qin Wentian actually took 81 steps. Right now, Gu Zhao's cultivation base was already incomparably tyrannical, stepping into the 8th level of Immortal Foundation. From this, one could very well imagine how powerful he was now. Beside him, there was a 7th level Immortal Foundation expert and a 6th level Immortal Foundation expert from the Supreme Sword School. All of them were flying together with Gu Shao, moving as fast as lightning. Other than the 3 of them, there were 3 other experts. One was a 7th level Immortal Foundation demon from the White Tiger people, and 2 from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom. One was at the 7th level while the other was at the 8th level. Such a lineup could be said to be extremely tyrannical. To them, killing Qin Wentian, who was merely at the 6th level of Immortal Foundation, was nothing difficult. Although Qin Wentian had already displayed his overwhelming combat prowess when he fought against Leiba, with Gu Shao around, he alone was comparable to Leiba. In fact, even the people from the Supreme Sword School understood that Gu Shao, who was at the 8th level of Immortal Foundation, was even more terrifying than Leiba. Back then, Qin Wentian used all his strength before he could kill Leiba and blast him out of the sky-connecting realm. If it was Gu Shao, he would be able to do it even more perfectly compared to Qin Wentian. His strength was already above Qin Wentian, and in addition, he had the support of the other 5 experts. With such a lineup, even a 9th level Immortal Foundation genius would die without a doubt. Finally, Huang Shatian and the rest could already see the back of Qin Wentian. Seeing how Qin Wentian continued to fly forward like a great rock, Huang Shaishan's eyes were as sharp as an unsheathed sword. Your friends have suffered heavy casualties and the holy maidens of the Namhuang clan are all incomparably beautiful. I wonder how many of them have been humiliated and you still have the face to announce your return? If I were you, I would fight with my life on the line. If you die, maybe the experts from the various powers would no longer pursue the Namhuang clan like before. Gu Zhao's voice was like sharp swords whistling through the air, ringing out in Qin Wentian's ears. However, Qin Wenyan acted as though he didn't hear it and continued on his way. Qin Wenyan, do you still have a wife named Emo Qingqing? You probably don't know that she also came to the Sacred Academy, right? She is only at the first level of Immortal Foundation, yet she has incomparably beautiful eyes. You can try to imagine her ending. An expert from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom spoke. And indeed, as the sound of this voice faded, Qin Wenyan, who was advancing, abruptly halted his steps. He abruptly turned around as a cold light gleamed in his eyes as he stared at the person who spoke. Qingqing, she also came to the Sacred Academy? In the face of such a situation, what would Qingqing do? Seeing Qin Wenyan halting, the expert from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom coldly laughed. Even geniuses loved beauties. Qin Wenyan's wife was so beautiful. As expected, this was his weakness. As the sound of the voice faded, Qin Wenyan truly stopped fleeing. In that case, what awaited Qin Wenyan was only death. Very swiftly, the 6 experts arrived before Qin Wenyan. Their terrifying auras instantly gushed forth, enveloping Qin Wenyan. In Qin Wenyan's eyes, there was only that 7th-level Immortal Foundation expert from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom. How is she? Qin Wenyan coldly asked. Naturally, she was sullied and humiliated by someone. You should understand what sort of demonic beasts the White Tiger people are. In addition, they hate you to the bone. How can they not enjoy such a beauty? That expert from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom intentionally wanted to infuriate Qin Wenyan, causing Qin Wenyan to lose control of his heart. However, at this moment, Qin Wenyan's eyes shone with a faint golden Buddhist light, like the eyes of truth, able to see through everything. Qin Wenyan calmed his heart. Emo Qingqing was indeed his weakness. It was impossible for him to not care about her. However, the other party lied. In that case, although Qingqing came to the Sacred Academy, she would definitely be fine. Boom! A fearsome might gushed forth from Qin Wenyan. His Immortal Foundation was released, appearing flawless and perfect. That fiend god physique of his was unexcelled in the world. Suppress! Qin Wenyan spat out a single word. In an instant, a terrifying law energy in the air transformed into a gigantic, suppress, character. Its might shook this entire space, suppressing all existences as it blasted outwards. Gu Zhao's expression was cold. His aura also erupted forth, resembling a paragon of swords. He was a paragon sword, born to be a king. A beam of sword light slashed out as 10,000 swords shot out in unison. Boundless sword might filled the air, blasting into the gigantic character for suppression. Clanging sounds rang out as the character for suppression shattered. But just when the 6 of them thought that Qin Wenyan was prepared for a violent battle, Qin Wenyan actually turned and continued fleeing, causing them to be stunned. They continued to chase after him. A fearsome energy circulated around Qin Wenyan's palms. Abruptly, he halted once more and blasted out with a palm strike. This palm imprint was incomparably gigantic, resembling the palm of a divinity. When it blasted out, many characters for suppression erupted forth, resonating with the heavens and earth as boundless law energy erupted forth, crushing down on the 6 experts who were chasing after him. Gu Zhao coldly snorted. A fearsome sword domain manifested around him, impervious to all attacks, capable of annihilating everything. That terrifying suppressive might blasted over, but it was all shattered. The other 5 experts all lifted their palms to defend, but Qin Wenyan had already acted the moment he blasted out that palm strike. With a flash of the wind rock, he directly rushed into the midst of the 6 experts, staring at the expert from the Skymist Immortal Empire who said that Emo Qingqing was humiliated earlier. He chanted incantations as destructive energy gushed forth. That gigantic character for suppression actually transformed into many terrifying ancient halberds that shot towards his opponent. The countenance of his opponent drastically changed as he retreated. At the same time, he blasted out with the might of a giant elephant. However, the ancient halberds also seemed to have the wings of a wind rock as they pierced out with lightning speed. In the time it takes for sparks to fly off a flint, the ancient halberds directly pierced into his opponent's body. That person's countenance turned as pale as paper as a fear that originated from the depths of his soul appeared in his heart. After that he only felt pain. Boom! A thunderous sound rang out. The ancient halberds directly penetrated through his immortal foundation, directly killing him. This tyrannical strike was so fast that no one could react in time. When the other 5 experts regained their senses, their eyes flashed with an intense killing intent. Qin Wenyin actually dared to rush into their midst to kill them. Since he wanted to court death, they would naturally grant him his wish. Gu Shao roared loudly. Instantly, boundless sword might enveloped the space where Qin Wenyin was at, lacerating everything. The white tiger howled in rage as baleful qi gushed forth, slashing down. The experts from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom blasted out divine elephant might, wanting to kill Qin Wenyin. But because Qin Wenyin killed one of their experts, he was instantly surrounded. At this level, the reaction speed was naturally extremely fast. However, at this moment, Qin Wenyan's body was enveloped by a divine turtle. On the surface of the turtle, there were actually many ancient characters fused into it. The terrifying shadow of the turtle let out a low-sounding roar as the ancient characters of suppression revolved around it, suppressing all energy. When the boundless attacks blasted towards Qin Wenyan, they actually had no way to break through Qin Wenyan's defense. The attacks of the 5 experts actually had no way to break through his defense. Qin Wenyan directly turned his gaze to the 2 experts from the Supreme Sword School. One was at the 6th level and the other was at the 7th level of Immortal Foundation. Both of them actually dared to join in the encirclement. Stepping out with his terrifying defense, Qin Wenyan pointed his finger forward. From the shadow of the divine turtle, numerous ancient characters of swords enveloped the 2 of them. Boundless sword might gushed forth, enveloping the 2 experts from the Supreme Sword School who were proficient in sword energy. Their countenances turned pale. Under the might of this sword might, their sword intent seemed extremely tiny and insignificant. Fighting against it was like an ant trying to shake a tree. No! Expressions of reluctance could be seen in the eyes of the 2 of them. The sword might cascaded down on them as the bodies of the 2 of them directly vanished. They vanished just like that, disintegrating under the might of the sword intent. This scene was extremely shocking. In the blink of an eye, 3 experts were actually killed. 6 experts encircled him, yet 3 of them died. Was Qin Wenyin really fleeing for his life earlier? Die! Gu Shao roared in rage. The entire space transformed into swords as a gigantic sword slashed down from the air, shattering the shadow of the divine turtle on Qin Wenyan's body. At this moment, Gu Zhao's expression was extremely heavy. He was a king of swords, an innate sword king. However, right in front of his eyes, Qin Wenyan actually killed 2 of his fellow sect members. Not only that, Qin Wenyan killed them in such a domineering manner. The sword might was still there, blasting towards Qin Wenyan. Qin Wenyan's body was like that of a fiend god. Boundless runic light circulated around him as his immortal foundation manifested. He inclined his head and let out a roar of rage as a terrifying true Ho manifested. With a single roar, the heavens and earth trembled as everything collapsed. Also, within this roar, there was an incomparably powerful ancient character of destruction. The sharp swords crumbled. Qin Wenyan lifted his hands once more as God's hand directly grabbed out. That white tiger people expert who wanted to retreat wanted to flee, but how could he escape from Qin Wenyan's suppression grand palm imprint? A gigantic palm imprint blasted down, destroying the white tiger. Out of the 6 experts, only 2 were left at the 8th level of Immortal Foundation. One was a sword king from the Supreme Sword School, Gu Shao, and the other was an expert from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom. When Qin Wenyan killed the white tiger, he was also struck by an expert from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom. The impact forced him to retreat as he groaned in misery. After that, he floated in the air and stared at the 2 remaining experts. Stretching out his hands, a terrifying coldness flickered in Qin Wenyan's eyes. Do you guys really think that I'm fleeing? Qin Wenyan stared at the 2 of them. I made you guys come here just to take your lives. As the sound of his voice faded, Qin Wenyan's body appeared. His body shimmered with light, resembling an unshakable god. Boom! The entire space was enveloped by a supreme force of truth as numerous runes appeared in the air. The ancient character of sword, ancient character of suppression, ancient character of destruction. These ancient characters descended, blotting out the sun. The ancient characters and immortal foundation shone brilliantly. This entire space seemed to be controlled by Qin Wenyin, controlling life and death, deciding life and death. Innate Sword King? Qin Wenyan's expression was ice cold. Even if you are a true king, you will die today. Chapter 1194. Gu Shao and the experts from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom inclined their heads and stared at the ancient characters cascading down from the sky, enveloping the entire space. Each and every character contained an incomparably terrifying law energy, resonating with the energy of heaven and earth, radiating a divine glow. Sixth level immortal foundation, how can he unleash such power? Could this be the power of an ultimate art? Gu Zhao's expression was incredibly unsightly to behold. For geniuses of their statuses, the innate techniques they cultivated would naturally far surpass their cultivation base. Their attacks would naturally be incomparably tyrannical as well, allowing them to continue cultivating. And it was precisely because of how tyrannical their cultivation arts and innate techniques were, they could only unleash a portion of their power. The more they dug out, the stronger they would become. For example, if he were to use the Paragon Sword art now, could it be compared to when he broke through to the Immortal King realm in the future? Leaving aside the strength of an Immortal King, even if they unleashed a sword strike with the same amount of power, because the usage of the innate techniques was much more terrifying, the might of the sword strike would definitely be incomparable. As for Qin Wenyin, it was as though he had dug out all the hidden potential of his terrifying innate techniques in advance. The ancient characters were like a supreme art that could suppress everything. It was as though they were the embodiment of the true self of the heavens and earth. Gu Zhao's expression turned solemn. In the blink of an eye, 4 experts were killed. The powerful Qin Wenyin caused his expression to turn even heavier. His sword qi hummed, wanting to destroy the heavens. After which, Gu Zhao pointed a finger at the air. In an instant, he seemed to have transformed into a paragon of swords. Under the might of his paragon sword qi, his swords were like raging waves, transforming into a surging sword river that gushed up into the 9 heavens, wanting to annihilate everything. That expert from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom also had a cultivation base at the 8th level of Immortal Foundation and was incomparably tyrannical. His divine elephant could suppress mountains and rivers, and when he attacked, the might of his attack could shake the heavens. The tyrannical attacks of the 2 of them blasted into the descending ancient characters. Terrifying destructive light flashed unceasingly as though the entire space here was about to transform into chaotic currents of destruction. Qin Wenyan's body was like a fiend god moving through the chaotic currents, moving towards the experts from the Skymist Immortal Empire. His immortal foundation actually transformed into a translucent golden-winged great rock that resembled the diagram of a divine bird, radiating terrifying immortal might. At this moment, Qin Wenyan lifted his hand and pointed downwards. At this instant, his immortal foundation resonated with the space around him. As his finger descended, the cry of a heavenly rock could be heard as numerous golden-winged great rocks shot out, tearing apart the space around them. The terrifying claws of the great rocks could shatter the heavens and earth, and their wings could tear apart the heavens. The expert from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom roared. His gigantic elephant clashed against the great rocks, yet the other great rocks kept appearing, frenziedly attacking. Puchi! A sound rang out as the wings cleaved down. The eyes of the expert from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom froze as a bloody scar appeared in the center of his brows, extending downwards. His countenance was ashen as an intense terror filled his heart. He was a prince character of the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom, a genius of the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom. His future was limitless, and he had glory that ordinary people couldn't hope to attain. But today, at this very moment, was he going to die? A beam of blood flashed as his body was split apart. Another genius had fallen. And when Qin Wenyan killed him, his body was still within the torrential sword river. boundless sword might gushed forth unceasingly, shattering Qin Wentian's defenses. Gu Shao turned ashen. Out of the 6 great experts, he was the only one left. Qin Wenyan had already killed his comrade under the attack of his paragon sword. Only to see Gu Zhao's expression suddenly turning calm. There was no anger, only boundless killing intent. A voice rang out from his mouth as a powerful tempest manifested, enveloping Qin Wenyan within it. The torrential sword river gushed downwards, wanting to kill Qin Wenyan within it. Qin Wentian's body shone with the light of truth, but he was still being destroyed by the sword river. The might of the paragon sword might was boundless. Gu Shao, who was at the 8th level of Immortal Foundation, was indeed stronger than Leba. His perfect Immortal Foundation continued to transform, radiating a dazzling light. Qin Wenyan bathed in this light, exuding a dignified aura. It was like the holy light of the Buddhist path enveloped him as he transformed into his true body. Golden Buddhic light flashed as the runic light around him was formed from numerous ancient characters. The runic light flowed around him, causing the sword river to have no way to destroy his true body. The strength of his physique was simply shocking. He walked down step by step, moving towards Gu Shao. Gu Zhao's expression was as solemn as ever. With a groan of misery, he coughed out a mouthful of blood. This blood splattered onto the sword river, and after that, a surge of energy frenziedly gushed forth from the sword river. A moment later, a paragon sword that was dyed red with blood manifested. This sword floated above Gu Shao, and the instant it appeared, it was like the ancestor of all swords, a paragon among swords, commanding all swords in the world. The light from this sword dyed the sword river red, illuminating the entire space. "You are very strong." Gu Shao stared at Qin Wenyan as he suddenly spoke. At this moment, he was filled with admiration for Qin Wenyan. He had never seen someone at the 6th level of Immortal Foundation being so powerful to such an extent. He, Gu Shao, was the king of swords in the Supreme Sword School, the leader of this generation. His combat prowess was unparalleled, and he was an extremely terrifying existence. However, Qin Wenyan was fighting against him with a cultivation base at the 6th level. One couldn't help but to say that Qin Wenyan wasn't an ordinary expert. He had never seen someone with such tyrannical combat prowess before. But today, under my paragon sword, you are destined to die. Although Gu Shao was filled with admiration for Qin Wentian's strength, his killing intent was still present. In fact, it was even more intense compared to before. If Qin Wenyan didn't die and grew 2 levels stronger, no one in the entire Tiandao Sacred Academy would be able to stand against him. At that time, no one in the Supreme Sword School would be able to survive. He had to kill Qin Wenyan no matter what. Also, he believed that under this sword strike, Qin Wenyan would die for sure. "I initially thought you were praising me. So it turns out that you are still as arrogant as before." Qin Wenyan spoke in arrogance. Given the terrifying physique formed from God's hand, no matter how strong his true body was, Gu Zhao's paragon sword might had no way to destroy him. "This is my innate sword strike. When this sword descends, there aren't many in the entire Tiandao Sacred Academy who would be able to withstand it, let alone you. If you aren't a peak level 9th level Immortal Foundation genius, you would die for sure." Gu Shao pushed his finger forward slightly. A moment later, a sky-devouring aura gushed forth, slamming into Qin Wentian's true body, wanting to cause cracks to appear on it. "Since we are enemies, I can only take your life." Gu Shao continued pushing his finger forward. The sword chi river churned madly as sword chi shot up into the sky. That sword chi frenziedly slammed into Qin Wentian's true body, causing cracks to appear on it. He stared at Gu Shao. Under the might of the paragon sword strike, the might of this innate sword strike could indeed destroy him. As the king of swords in the Supreme Sword School, the leader of this generation, there was no need to doubt Gu Zhao's strength. Sadly, he met the current Qin Wenyan. A perfect Immortal Foundation could manifest all the attributes he was proficient in. At this moment, numerous greater demons imprinted themselves on his Immortal Foundation. Qin Wentian lifted his palm. His long hair fluttered in the wind as his eyes gleamed with a demonic light. At this moment he was half Buddha, half demon. The 8 ancient demons roared, causing mountains and rivers to shatter. Sword might trembled, and from within, an overwhelming might that could devour mountains and rivers, capable of destroying the heavens and earth. Upon sensing this power, Gu Zhao's expression changed. After that, he pushed his finger forward again. Die! The sound of a single word transformed into boundless killing might. The innate paragon sword shot up into the sky, wanting to destroy everything. A blood-colored sword might shot up into the clouds. The energy in Qin Wentian's hand gushed forth, blasting outwards. The 8 greater demons transformed into 8 demon gods that blasted downwards. At this instant, a gigantic mouth of a demon god appeared, wanting to devour everything. The boundless sword Qi River vanished in an instant. The gigantic mouth of the demon god was so huge that it could devour the heavens, devouring the paragon sword. Qin Wentian roared. The paragon sword shot into the gigantic mouth of the demon god, wanting to break out and destroy Qin Wentian. However, very swiftly, he groaned in misery. He felt that he had lost control of the paragon sword. After that, the sky turned dark and he was actually swallowed by the demon god. When he stared at the scene before him, his countenance turned as pale as paper. That attack continued on. Terrifying fissures appeared on the ground as a bottomless crater appeared. As for Gu Zhao and the paragon sword, they had already disappeared. Qin Wentian stood in the air. The surroundings returned to a state of silence. The 6 supreme experts were all killed by him, including the king of the Supreme Sword School. However, Qin Wentian didn't have a complacent look on his face because of this battle. His countenance was as cold as ever as he flew away. Qing'er and Qingqing were both in the Sacred Academy. It was unknown if they were dead or alive. There was also Jun Mingchen, Little Rascal, Nam Huang Yunxi, and the others. How could he feel at ease? If something happened to them, so what even if he slaughtered all the experts from the other major powers? Not long after Qin Wentian left, another group of silhouettes arrived here. When they felt the lingering aura, and when they stared at the terrifying crater below, as well as the fissures that extended far into the distance, their countenances all changed. Such a terrifying destructive force, it was definitely an incomparably powerful attack. Their silhouettes flashed as they stared at a corpse on the ground. If the person who chased after Qin Wentian had the ability to kill him, they should still be here by right. They vanished, but their corpses were left behind. Could it be that Qin Wentian was the victor of this battle? If this was the case, Qin Wentian's combat prowess had to be re-evaluated. Could it be that he broke through to the 7th level of Immortal Foundation? If this was the case, most probably only experts at the peak of the 9th level would be able to deal with Qin Wentian. They glanced at each other, not knowing if they should continue their pursuit or not. And from afar, there were currently several experts trying to find their way back. These people were none other than Jun Mingchen and the others. They knew that Qin Wentian would definitely come looking for them. Right now, they should gather together and increase their strength. Only then would they be able to resolve this situation and not be pursued endlessly. Chapter 1195. Qin Wentian soared through the air. This place was very far away from the central region of the Sacred Academy. Occasionally, he would be able to find secret realms for cultivation, but there weren't any sacred cultivation grounds like the central region of the Sacred Academy. Hence, there were very few people here. In addition, in the vast wilderness, even if there were people, they would be drowned by the sea of people. It was as difficult as ascending to the heavens if one wanted to search for them. However, Qin Wentian's expression was incomparably calm. Since he had returned, he naturally wanted to gather everyone together and not be split up and hunted by others. From Li Yufeng's words, he knew that after the defeat in the sky-piercing battle, all his friends must have been split up. Now that they were fleeing in different directions, and the other party had formed many teams to hunt them down, he naturally understood how terrible the situation was. Only by hiding would he be able to survive. Qin Wentian didn't want to waste even a single moment. He wanted to find his friends and family as soon as possible. Qin Wentian's speed was extremely fast, like a bolt of lightning. His immortal sense swept out in all directions, but he still couldn't find anyone. However, he knew that it wasn't time yet. Since they were fleeing, they would naturally flee to the depths of the mountain range. How could it be so easy to find them? Another long period of time passed. Qin Wendian was still venturing deeper, advancing unceasingly. Qin Wendian didn't know that at an extremely far distance away from him, there were experts from the Namhuang clan who encountered the White Tiger people and a few Ziti's followers in a forest. The cultivation bases of the three holy maidens weren't very high, and they encountered each other while fleeing. The strongest among them was only at the 7th level of Immortal Foundation, while the strongest among them was at the 8th level. Should we inform them? A white tiger asked his comrade. It shouldn't be a problem to capture these three holy maidens, right? But if we inform the other two, I can only eat the leftovers. Are you willing to do so? One of Ziti's followers coldly stared at the three holy maidens of the Namhuang clan. One couldn't help but say that the descendants of the Southern Phoenix matriarch were all extremely beautiful. In this place where no one resided, they should enjoy themselves first before killing them. Who would know that they had participated in this? In any case, they would definitely not admit it when they were in the outside world. Cultivation was very tiring, and they naturally didn't mind having a beauty to relieve their fatigue. Moreover, there were many geniuses from the various forces in the immortal region who coveted the Namhuang clan's holy lady, yet they didn't dare to touch her. That's right. The two of them are cultivating, and we're out searching for them. We're not afraid of running into powerful enemies. Now that there's such a good thing, we naturally have to enjoy it ourselves. The White Tiger people's powerhouse grinned. The three saintesses' faces were as pale as paper. They glanced at each other, and their eyes were filled with determination. They had already decided that if they were captured, they would just have to undergo nirvana. Otherwise, if he were to fall into the other party's hands, he would only be humiliated to death. Boom! A terrifying aura gushed forth. Their bodies were bathed in phoenix flames as a pair of phoenix wings appeared. They released their immortal foundations as numerous phoenix spears shot out explosively, shooting towards their opponents. The four experts from the White Tiger people also moved. Malevolent smiles could be seen on their faces as they instantly surrounded the three holy maidens. The White Tiger people's followers directly rushed forward, engaging in close combat, wanting to cripple the immortal foundations of these holy maidens first. At the instant the battle erupted, the entire space trembled as rivers and ancient trees crumbled. The three holy maidens of the Namhuang clan fought against the four experts, and their cultivation bases were higher than theirs. They could still endure for a period of time, but the disparity in strength was too great. Very swiftly, they suffered heavy blows as blood flowed from the corners of their mouths. Even their immortal foundations were shaken as cracks could be seen on them. Their countenances were completely pale. Take off your clothes and don't resist. If you make us happy, we might spare your lives. The White Tiger people's follower laughed malevolently as a wild aura radiated from him. He was also worried that these three holy maidens would go all out and retaliate, wanting to break the will of their opponents, giving them a chance to live. The three holy maidens of the Namhuang clan exchanged glances. All of them had a resolute look on their faces. Boom! All of a sudden, an 8th level Immortal Foundation White Tiger demon directly appeared before one of the holy maidens. With a lift of his hand, he directly penetrated the immortal foundation of one of the holy maidens and lifted her up as a malevolent smile appeared on his face. The countenances of the other two holy maidens drastically changed. With a swishing sound, that was the sound of clothes being torn apart. However, just as they were fighting, the mountains and rivers trembled and the earth rumbled. The tremors grew increasingly intense, and just when the holy maiden of the Namhuang clan had her immortal foundation penetrated and her robes ripped apart, the two holy maidens screamed in shock as the earth trembled. But at this moment, the three holy maidens of the Namhuang clan were already surrounded by fear. It was as though they didn't notice the tremors. The captured holy maiden had tears flowing down her face. As a holy maiden of the Namhuang clan, was she going to be humiliated by a vile white tiger demon? She inclined her head and stared at the vast sky. But at this moment, the tears on her face froze. Staring at the situation afar, Her body started to tremble. We've already captured one of them. If the two of you dare to undergo nirvanic rebirth, the four of us will definitely make this beauty of the Namhuang clan die a quick death. That white tiger people expert threatened when he saw the actions of the other two holy maidens. The faces of the two holy maidens turned pale, the flames on their bodies trembled unstably. Vile beasts, your doomsday has arrived. At this moment, the captured holy maiden of the Namhuang clan spoke, her words causing the four of them to laugh coldly. Their doomsday? Did this woman go crazy even before she was humiliated? The other two holy maidens discovered something strange. The tremors grew more and more intense. After that, they stared at the sky as their gazes froze. You guys are dead for sure. Another person spoke. The white tiger people frowned, they could also feel the tremors. They inclined their heads and stared at the sky as their countenances abruptly turned incredibly unsightly. Far away in the air, there was actually a terrifying giant. It was unknown how tall this giant was, but from where they were, it seemed to be as tall as the sky itself. His gigantic eyes surveyed the surroundings as he took a step forward, causing the earth to tremble unceasingly. This giant was actually Qin Wenyin. At this moment, Qin Wenyin had transformed into a towering giant. The boundless land was simply too vast. Only by doing this could he allow people who were extremely far away to see him and sense his existence. His body was tens of thousands of zhang tall. Every step he took caused the heavens to collapse and the earth to shatter. Mountain ranges were directly crushed under his feet, and every step he took left behind a huge pit on the ground. Not only that, the steps he took grew bigger and faster, causing the earth to tremble violently. He believed that with such a gigantic body, even if he couldn't see those who were far away, others would still be able to see him or sense his existence. Everywhere Qin Wenyin passed by, doomsday seemed to have arrived. One mountain range after another turned into ashes. Reality was just as Qin Wenyin had predicted. After transforming into a giant, although he still couldn't see others, others could still see him. Just like the stars in the sky, because he was sufficiently gigantic, even if he was extremely far away, he could still see the radiance of the stars. At this moment, not only was Qin Wentian's body huge, but he was also emitting a powerful divine aura. When the people of the Namhuang clan saw Qin Wenyin, the experts of the White Tiger people also saw Qin Wenyin. Their expressions changed in different ways. After that, they discovered a fact: Qin Wenyin couldn't see them. Even for powerful immortals, their vision was not limitless. They could only see each other when Qin Wenyin transformed into a giant. However, in Qin Wentian's vision, from far away, they were no different from a particle. How could he possibly see them? You all are hoping that he can save you. Can he see us? The experts of the White Tiger people laughed maliciously. The faces of the experts of the Namhuang clan were ashen. At this moment, the flames on the body of a saintess burned even more fiercely, directly burning from inside out. A drop of bright red blood appeared. The expressions of the experts of the White Tiger people changed. Wait for me. Towering flames appeared. That saintess of the Namhuang clan directly transformed into a beam of light and shot up into the sky. Very swiftly, the shadow of an incomparably huge phoenix appeared in the sky, blotting out the sun. Blazing flames burned the heavens, and even the sky seemed to be on fire. Upon seeing this scene, the countenances of the White Tiger people turned ashen. After that, they discovered that the gigantic body of the giant was stomping on the ground in their direction, causing the tremors of the ground to intensify. Finish her off. That terrifying silhouette gave the four of them immense pressure as it rushed towards the saintess who was still able to fight. Boom! Terrifying flames suddenly ignited on the body of the saintess, causing the four of them to pause. After that, her silhouette also shot up into the sky as she stared coldly at the four people below. All of you must die. The four experts grabbed the saintess and fled. However, they discovered that the phoenix that was undergoing nirvanic rebirth was actually following them. The flames were inextinguishable, guiding the giant forward. Qin Wenyin naturally discovered that the saintess of the southern phoenix had turned into phoenix flames. His expression was cold to the extreme. The saintess of the Namhuang clan was forced to do this. Qin Wenin naturally understood what happened. His speed increased to the maximum as he channeled the energy of God's hand into his legs, allowing him to advance with the fastest speed possible. That incomparably gigantic body of his could traverse an unknown distance with a single step. The earth trembled violently, shaking the heavens and earth. Other than those people earlier, there were other experts from the Battle Saint tribe who discovered Qin Wentian's body. After that, their silhouettes flashed as they sped towards Qin Wenin. As for the phoenix flames in the air, they grew increasingly weaker. Qin Wentian knew that she wouldn't be able to hold on for much longer. The distance between them grew shorter and shorter. Qin Wentian could finally see the silhouette of the saintess. He roared, causing the heavens and earth to tremble as a fearsome might gushed forth from him. The countenances of the experts from the White Tiger people paled. The terrifying might directly exploded around them, bringing with it towering rage. "We can't escape anymore." The few of them turned ashen as they halted their steps. They stared into the distance and, as expected, there were two more experts rushing over. They were from their side. With such a lineup, they should be able to deal with Qin Wentian, right? They stared at the gigantic silhouette as they silently mused in their hearts. Chapter 1196. Boom, boom, boom. The giant stomped on the ground, causing the heavens and earth to rumble unceasingly. Qin Wentian's cold eyes stared at the speck-like silhouettes before him. Finally he stopped. Before him, the holy maiden of the Namhuang clan transformed into the shadow of the ancient phoenix. Qin Wentian could sense the rage in her heart. He stretched his hand out and spoke, "I will make them feel so much pain that they would rather die than live." That holy maiden landed on Qin Wentian's outstretched palm, transforming into a drop of nirvanic blood. Another holy maiden also appeared. She had also undergone nirvanic rebirth. Qin Wentian stared at her before turning his gaze back to the maiden whose immortal foundation was crippled and who was captured by the White Tiger people. His heart was filled with an incomparably cold chill. The White Tiger people would definitely pay a terrible price for this. 2 nirvanic rebirth, 1 crippled. And this was merely a battlefield. He had no idea what his friends in the entire Sacred Academy had experienced. After storing the 2 droplets of nirvanic blood, his palms radiated a terrifying might as he grabbed downwards. In the center of his brows, a pair of demonic eyes appeared. That pair of eyes directly pierced into the eyes of the White Tiger that captured the Holy Maiden. The will of truth contained within his eyes penetrated into the mind of the White Tiger, and in that instant, the White Tiger abruptly closed its eyes. It only felt a supreme demonic silhouette appearing in its mind. That demonic silhouette was lofty and lofty, like a demon god peering down at everything in the world. Boom, boom, boom. That terrifying will contained the towering anger of Qin Wentian. While the White Tiger was still struggling, Qin Wentian's terrifying palm had already slammed down. The other 5 experts evaded, temporarily avoiding the attack. At this moment, how could they still care about the life and death of their companion? This terrifying palm was simply too large. If it directly slammed down, even the Holy Maiden would be killed. However, at this moment, a fearsome sword might manifested in the palm. The sword chi was controlled with incomparable precision, and with a flick of his finger, a supreme sword might pierced into the body of the White Tiger, causing it to scream unceasingly as it directly died, reverting back to its true form, a gigantic white tiger. The palm covered the ground, pulling the corpse of the White Tiger and the Holy Maiden up into the air. Qin Wentian then pulled them up into the air. Staring at the Holy Maiden of the Namhuang clan, her eyes were filled with tears. Her immortal foundation was crippled, and her 2 sisters underwent nirvanic rebirth. How could she not feel pain in her heart? "I once had a stroke of good fortune and obtained a technique to reconstruct my immortal foundation. Namhuang Yunshi has also cultivated this technique. After we return from the Sacred Academy, I will get Namhuang Yunshi to impart this technique to the Namhuang clan. Your immortal foundation will be even more perfect." Qin Wentian spoke to the Holy Maiden in his palm. The holy maiden of the Namhuang clan froze for a moment before nodding her head lightly. Qin Wenyin placed her on his body, his cold eyes staring down at the white tiger below. How cold was his gaze? A few gigantic white tigers appeared. One of them had a terrifying physique, exuding a baleful aura that towered up into the heavens, manifesting a supreme white tiger demon shadow. The ability to transform one's body was something only immortal kings could do. But Immortal Foundation experts who cultivated secret arts could similarly expand their physique to an incomparably large size, increasing their strength. Qin Wentian's strength originated from the drift's now master. Even that gigantic white tiger, in front of Qin Wenyan, didn't seem large at all. Naturally, true strength wasn't determined by the size of one's body. The larger one's body, the more obvious the target would be, and the easier it would be for one to be hit. There were advantages, but there were also disadvantages. I won't kill you all directly. I will capture you alive and roast you as meat. Qin Wentian's heart was filled with boundless rage. The White Tiger people not only wanted to kill the people of the Namhuang clan, they even wanted to humiliate them before killing them. In that case, he would use the same method to deal with the people of the White Tiger people. The White Tiger race would definitely pay a price. Shameless boasting. A cold voice rang out. A 9th-level Immortal Foundation expert from ZD's followers appeared. Violet Chi towered up into the sky as a terrifying violet giant appeared, exuding a towering might. He was at the 9th level of Immortal Foundation. Back then, Zi Daoyang had yet to become an immortal. When the two of them used ZD's ultimate art, the ultimate Violet Saint Immortal art, the difference in power wasn't just a level. Master has long wanted your life, but because of his status, he disdained to bully you. Today I shall kill you. That expert coldly spoke. Qin Wentian stared at him. He released his Immortal Foundation as boundless demonic energy gushed forth. 8 gigantic demon shadows floated around him. At this moment, Qin Wentian truly transformed into a demon god, controlling the saint beasts and demon kings. Are you even worthy? Qin Wentian's palms blasted out. The 8 greater demons roared as Qin Wentian's palm imprints blasted out, transforming unceasingly. After that, a terrifying black hole of the demon god appeared, akin to a boundless black hole of primordial chaos, wanting to devour the entire sky. Upon feeling that heaven-shaking might, the expressions of ZD's followers drastically changed. What ultimate art was this? How could it be so terrifying? That black hole of primordial chaos contained a heaven-shaking might. Die! With a thunderous roar, a terrifying violet fist imbued with boundless heavenly energy blasted out, slamming into the black hole of the demon god. However, the roar of a demon god rang out from within the black hole, directly devouring his attack. The powerful white tiger also frenziedly attacked, unleashing the ultimate art of the White Tiger people. However, their fates were the same. Before that terrifying ultimate art, everything was devoured. The countenances of the two of them were filled with shock. The black hole truly wanted to devour the entire sky, blotting out the sun. Break! The body of the disciple of the Violet Emperor expanded explosively once more. His heaven-shaking might penetrated through the heavens and earth, gushing forth in all directions, blasting into the black hole of the demonic divinity. However, a heaven-shaking roar rang out from within, shattering everything. After that, the black hole engulfed his incomparably gigantic body. No! The powerful elite bellowed. How could this strike be so powerful? It was impossible. Boom! Loud booms resounded incessantly. Darkness descended as the demon god flashed past. The extremely powerful elite vanished just like that. The remnant force even struck White Tiger, causing him to spit out blood. His massive body seemed like it was on the verge of shattering as he let out a heaven-shaking tiger roar. Qin Wenyin stomped on the heavens and earth, causing the mountains to crumble and the earth to crack. Another strike blasted out, landing on the body of the White Tiger. The terrifying suppressive might instantly blasted into the White Tiger's body, shattering his internal organs and causing fresh blood to spurt out. Qin Wentian's palm imprint smashed out, directly grabbing the gigantic body of the white tiger in his palm. His eyes were ice cold as he stared down at the white tiger, as though he was the king of all existences. There were still 3 more experts below. Their bodies were trembling as terror was written all over their faces. Was Qin Wenyan already so powerful to such an extent? Most probably, other than Huang Shatian, no one else would be able to suppress him. All of you repent. Qin Wenyan's palm slammed down. The 3 experts frantically fled. Their hearts were filled with a bone-chilling coldness, filled with despair. It wasn't easy for them to cultivate until now. They all had extraordinary statuses. But now, were they going to die? A few thunderous booms rang out. That disciple of the Violet Emperor was directly slapped into a cripple, his immortal foundation shattered and his internal organs ruptured. His entire person was in an incomparably miserable state. However, Qin Wenyan didn't take his life. He wanted to make this disciple regret his actions. As for the 2 white tigers, Qin Wenyan only crippled them but didn't take their lives. He planned to hand them over to the Namhuang clan to be dealt with. The 3 holy maidens were in such a miserable state. The entire Namhuang clan had probably suffered heavy losses in the sacred academy. How could the white tiger people not bear their anger? Rumble! The earth trembled. Qin Wenyan was still moving forward, but his speed had slowed down. He wanted to let everyone in this boundlessly vast region see him. He wanted his friends to come here, and if his enemies wanted to come, he would crush them with ease. 2 experts from the Battle Saint tribe appeared first. They found Qin Wenyan and called out, "Saint Lord." Qin Wenyan nodded to them and continued forward. Staring at that heaven-shaking body, they couldn't help but to sigh in their hearts. The Saint Lord was as expected of the Saint Lord, tyrannical and unrivaled. Back then when he joined the Battle Saint tribe, he was the weakest. But now, he has already surpassed them. Qin Wenyan, who was continuing forward, saw the familiar silhouette of Jun Mingchen. They flew over and called out, "Senior brother. Are you all right?" Qin Wenyan saw that Jun Mingchen's robes were tattered. The handsome Jun Mingchen was now in a sorry state. "Don't worry. Since senior brother has returned, we have to kill our way back." Jun Mingchen spoke with incomparable rage. Qin Wenyan nodded, "Let us continue to search for the others." As he spoke, he continued forward. Everywhere he passed by, his enemies would retreat while his friends would come forward. His forces gradually grew stronger and stronger. Finally, several powerful holy maidens of the Namhuang clan appeared. They stared at Qin Wenyan as traces of sorrow could be seen on their faces. Qin Wenyan passed the 2 drops of nirvanic blood shadow to the holy maidens as well as the holy maidens standing on top of him. The holy maidens received them one by one as tears filled their eyes. The holy maidens of the Namhuang clan had never been in such a miserable state before. The white tiger people had to pay a price. There are 4 greater demons of the white tigers here. Qin Wenyan dragged the corpses of the white tigers behind him. They were all still alive as he spoke. "I have been waiting for you all to come. I will roast the white tiger meat and use fresh blood to wash away my hatred. Let's continue forward first and meet up with the other sisters before we eat the white tiger meat." The Southern Phoenix Holy Maiden coldly spoke. Qin Wenyan nodded and continued forward. Everyone followed behind him as the number of experts gathered here increased unceasingly. Many days later, there were already over 10 experts gathered here. They returned to the central region of the Sacred Academy and left the 4 white tiger people there. The bodies of the Namhuang clan's experts were bathed in flames. In an instant, the 4 gigantic white tigers howled miserably within the flames. "You all will pay the price." The roars of the white tigers shook the heavens and earth. The Sacred Academy was alarmed as many experts rushed over. When they saw this scene, all of them felt their hearts trembling. "Before this, you all started the war and acted against us. Have you ever thought of the price you would pay?" The voice of the holy maidens of the Namhuang clan was incomparably cold. More and more holy maidens waved their phoenix flames, gradually roasting the white tigers. Chapter 1197. What happened? From afar, more and more experts rushed over from the sacred academy. This place was scorched by the flames as screams of agony could be heard. White Tiger Greater Demon. When they saw the scene before them, their countenances drastically changed as their hearts pounded. This was madness. In the past, they had heard of people roasting white tiger meat before. But this was the first time they saw someone roasting a greater demon in front of the sacred academy. Madness, everyone has gone mad. Staring at the cold expression on the holy maiden of the Namhuang clan, the gazes of the crowd gradually landed on Qin Wenin. This man had completed the 81 steps of the Shizhong Wall, announcing his return. Now, he had truly returned, and in an incomparably domineering manner. Not only that, he brought his friends back, and even crippled the experts of the White Tiger people, capturing them alive. The White Tiger people are a peak power in the western regions. Their saint beast is a white tiger, a terrifying greater demon. Are they really so arrogant to this extent? Someone spoke when he saw the madness on Qin Wentian's face. Do you see that holy maiden of the Namhuang clan? There's no aura coming from her at all. Clearly, she has been crippled. Also, the eyes of those holy maidens of the Namhuang clan are filled with rage and sorrow. Don't forget what the White Tiger Greater Demon has always wanted to do. I believe that many of the holy maidens of the Namhuang clan have already fallen into his hands. Since this battle has already erupted, it's already too crazy. The White Tiger people might be a peak power, but what about the Namhuang clan of the southern regions? Someone replied, causing that person to be speechless. That's right, the people of the White Tiger people said that they would capture the holy maidens of the Namhuang clan and humiliate them before killing them. For such hatred, only roasted white tiger meat would be able to appease the anger of the Namhuang clan. The flames grew more and more terrifying. The experts of the White Tiger people roared and cursed. Qin Wentian's expression was emotionless. From the words of the Battle Saint tribe and Jun Mingchen, Qin Wenin knew of the course of this battle. The White Tiger people contacted all the peak powers and wanted to capture the holy maidens alive before humiliating them. Right now, Qinger's whereabouts were still unknown. How could Qin Wenin not be enraged? Even if he killed all of them, his friends who had fallen would never be able to return. As for how powerful the White Tiger people were, Qin Wenin didn't even bother to think about it. There was basically no need for him to think about it. If others wanted to kill you, humiliate your friends, and kill everyone around you, what meaning was there for him to even consider what power the other party was? From afar, there were also people from the White Tiger People's Alliance. But when they saw how domineering Qin Wenin was, the people from the White Tiger People's Alliance from the Sacred Academy actually didn't dare to show themselves. Right now, Qin Wentian's group had already gathered together. If they appeared, it would only mean death for them. Eat the meat. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. Under the scorching phoenix flames, the white tigers were roasted. Qin Wenin brandished his sword and sliced the white tigers apart. Everyone then walked over and started feasting on the white tiger meat. Every single piece of the Saint Beast white tigers was extremely nutritious. After entering their mouths, their immortal energy surged and their blood started circulating involuntarily. There were no heavenly ingredients or earthly treasures that could be more nutritious than the meat of Saint Beasts. Saint Beasts were born from the essence of heaven and earth. At this instant, even those beautiful holy maidens of the Namhuang clan all disregarded their image and started eating. But even so, the anger in their hearts couldn't be quelled. It was unknown how many of their sisters who entered the Sacred Academy had already died in the hands of the White Tiger people. This place was merely one of the many sacred academies. How nutritious! Jun Mingchen spoke in a loud voice. How satisfying! Those vile beasts think they are so lofty and lofty. Now that they see their tribesmen being roasted, they don't even dare to come out. How ridiculous! The 4 white tigers, including a 9th-level greater demon, had incomparably large bodies. Although Qin Wenin and the others had huge appetites, it was still sufficient for them to eat their fill. Their immortal foundations involuntarily circulated, feeling incomparably joyful. The eyes of many experts flashed with greed, as though they also wanted to go out and have a share of the meat. They had never had the chance to enjoy such a nutritious food before. Humans and demons were different. Unless it was their own demonic beast companion or demon pet, it was extremely normal for humans to eat demons. It was just like how demonic beasts ate humans. If the white tiger people weren't from a peak power, everyone would capture the white tigers and eat their meat. If anyone else wishes to eat, you can come out as well. Qin Wentian's gaze was extremely sharp, able to see through everything. He could sense the greed in the eyes of many experts. However, everyone understood that as long as they went out and ate a piece of white tiger meat, they would definitely be hated to death by the white tiger people. This meat is incomparably delicious and can strengthen one's immortal energy. In fact, it can even allow one's immortal foundation to grow and have a chance to break through. Are you all not tempted? Qin Wentian spoke. Many people were tempted, silently cursing Qin Wentian for trying to tempt them. All of you are geniuses at the peak of the immortal realms. The white tiger meat has already been roasted. Do you all not dare to enjoy it? A voice drifted over. The gazes of everyone turned over only to see a group of experts walking over. Liu Feng, Bai Mingnongyu. Everyone stared at the two immortal lovers before them, as though they had never been separated before. Liu Feng walked up and smiled at Qin Wentian. Let me make things clear first. This white tiger meat was roasted by you guys. It has nothing to do with me. I only want to eat the meat and won't participate in the battle between you guys. Please. Qin Wentian didn't say anything more and stretched out his hand to invite them to eat. He naturally had no objections, but in truth, there were some things that could only be understood. There was no need for words. Liu Feng said that he wouldn't participate in the battle, but there was no doubt that the people of the white tiger people would hate him. Since he dared to eat the meat, he naturally had considered it. Liu Feng and Bai Mingnongyue also weren't polite, directly sitting opposite to Qin Wentian. His immortal energy transformed into a sharp weapon, slicing the white tiger meat apart. As the white tiger meat entered his mouth, Liu Feng smiled. It's truly very nutritious, much more nutritious compared to the heavenly ingredients and earthly treasures I've eaten before. As expected of a saint beast. In that case, see more. Qin Wentian laughed. Liu Feng nodded, enjoying the delicacy. After that, he spoke. You brought so many people to kill your way back here. Are you not afraid of Huang Shun? Qin Wentian's eyes flashed with coldness when he heard this name. According to Jun Mengchen, it was precisely because of the appearance of Huang Shatian that the tides of the battle turned, causing his friends to be hunted down and suffer heavy casualties. A peak-level genius could decide the outcome of the entire battle. Which sacred academy is Huang Shan in? Qin Wentian asked. If Huang Shatian participated in the pursuit, it would be a nightmare for his friends. Don't worry, after that battle, Huang Shatian is being held back by others and has no way to extricate himself. Liu Feng seemed to understand what Qin Wentian was worried about. He then continued, Are you acquainted with experts from the Myriad Devil Islands? Myriad Devil Islands? Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. He shook his head. I've never had any dealings with them before. Then this is interesting. Do you know that after that battle, there was an expert from the white tiger people who wanted to act against your wife? A maiden with a very high status in the Myriad Devil Islands acted to save her. Also, after that, 4 powerful devil cultivators from the Myriad Devil Islands fought against Huang Shatian, sticking close to him, causing Huang Shatian to not even be able to cultivate in peace. If she isn't acquainted with you, who else could she be acquainted with? Liu Feng spoke. Qin Wentian heaved a sigh of relief in his heart when he heard Qingqing's news. However, there was still some doubt in his heart. Why would the people from the Myriad Devil Islands do this? From what he knew, there was only one person from the Myriad Devil Islands, and that person was also his enemy. According to the words of the holy maiden from the Namhuang clan, there was a high possibility that Emo Xie was the mastermind behind the battle between the White Tiger people and the Namhuang clan. He heard that it was also a maiden from the Myriad Devil Islands who acted to save Little Rascal. Who was it exactly that was helping them? You seem to be very confident in your own strength. If not, you wouldn't be roasting white tiger meat here, waiting for your enemies to gather. Also, this is a situation where you didn't know that Huang Shatian wouldn't be able to participate in the battle. Can this be understood as you have enough confidence that you would be able to fight against the powerful Huang Shatian? Li Yufeng's eyes gleamed with a dazzling light as he stared at Qin Wenyin. The first time he truly paid attention to Qin Wenyin was when he was replaced by Qin Wenyin on the Supreme Might rankings. After that, he discovered that Qin Wenyin was truly extraordinary and the things he did could shake the heavens and earth. He had always wanted to fight against Qin Wenyin. Naturally, he also wanted to see what sort of character Qin Wenyin was, to actually dare to roast white tiger meat in public. The spectators were all shocked when they heard Li Yufeng's words. Only now did they realize the deeper meaning behind Qin Wenyin roasting white tiger meat in public. From a certain perspective, Qin Wenyin was declaring war. As to why they didn't think this way, it was because they had never imagined that Qin Wenyin would be able to fight against Huang Shatian. Even if he was very strong, even if Qin Wenyin returned with a shocking feat, the impression that Huang Shatian gave everyone was that he was simply invincible. If Qin Wenyan's cultivation base could rise by 2 more levels, he might even have the qualifications to fight against Huang Shatian. Qin Wenyan smiled. He didn't say anything. But at this moment, his eyes abruptly turned as his silhouette flickered, flying towards a certain direction. When his footsteps halted, a beautiful silhouette appeared in front of him. Mo Qingqing was as beautiful as ever, but her aura was even more extraordinary. After becoming an immortal, her aura changed. Mo Qingqing was still as beautiful as ever, but her aura was even more extraordinary, like a true celestial maiden. A smile appeared on Qin Wenyan's face. Being able to see that Qingqing was fine was naturally an extremely good thing. Mo Qingqing walked up and gently tugged on Qin Wenyan's robes. After which, she rested her head on Qin Wenyan's chest, wanting to quietly feel that familiar aura. They had already been separated for 40 years. Wenyin, I missed you. Mo Qingqing's gentle voice caused Qin Wenyan's heart to melt. He hugged her as he spoke in a low voice. I missed you too. He inclined his head and stared at the distance, only to see a group of silhouettes turning and departing. The woman in the lead had an extremely good figure. It was just that her body exuded a devilish coldness and her countenance was concealed. Qin Wenyin stared at the departing silhouette as he furrowed his brows. Qingqing, do you know who she is? I don't know. She was only protecting me and didn't even say a single word to me. I've never even heard her voice before. Mo Qingqing walked out from Qin Wenyan's embrace as she turned and stared at the departing silhouette. No matter who she is, I owe her a debt. Qin Wenyan spoke in a low voice. After that, he pulled Mo Qingqing back. Upon seeing this pair of lovers, everyone turned their gazes to Li Yufeng and Baiming Nongyue as they couldn't help but to feel shock in their hearts. Li Yufeng and Baiming Nongyue were a celestial couple, but right now, even their radiance was being suppressed by Qin Wenyin. This was truly a miraculous scene in the Sacred Academy. The group of people didn't say anything and continued to feast on the white tiger meat, waiting for the impending battle. Regardless of Qin Wenyin or the experts of the Namhuang clan, they were all clearly preparing for a battle. However, even before the experts of the white tiger people arrived, an incomparably lofty figure appeared in the air. His cold eyes stared at Qin Wenyin. I once told you that I don't wish to see you devouring demons. Seems like you didn't even place my words in your heart. Qin Wenyin inclined his head. This person was none other than a 9th-level Immortal Foundation expert from the Tianping people, Jiagu. He had once mocked Qin Wenyin when he ascended to the 3,000 immortal thrones and was unhappy with Qin Wenyin roasting white tiger meat because he was also a greater demon, a sky rock. Scram. Qin Wenyin didn't even bother to lift his head as he spat out a single word. Chapter 1198. A single word stirred up a storm. Qin Wenyin merely inclined his head and glanced at Jiagu before no longer looking at him. He spat out the word, scram. Such an attitude was simply the strongest reply to Jiagu. This was originally a grudge between Qin Wenyin and the White Tiger people. What qualifications did he, Jiagu, have to interfere? Jia Gu's immortal foundation was high up in the air, staring at Qin Wenyan and the others with a judgmental gaze. This was already extremely disrespectful. Qin Wenyan telling him to scram was undoubtedly smacking his face. Who does Jia Gu think he is? What qualifications does he have to interfere in his matters? The people of the Namhuang clan coldly stared at Jia Gu. When the holy maiden of the Namhuang clan was humiliated by the White Tiger people, did Jia Gu interfere? When the Namhuang clan was forced to undergo nirvanic rebirth, did Jia Gu say anything? How laughable! Your enemies are everywhere in the Sacred Academy, yet your mouth is still so dirty. In the past, you were protected by the rules of the Sacred Academy. But now, do you think I don't dare to kill you? Jia Gu's voice was incomparably cold. His lofty eyes gleamed with a golden sharpness, extremely terrifying. He was a 9th-level Immortal Foundation Sky Rock. The Tianping people were even more terrifying compared to the White Tiger people. Why would he care about a 6th-level Immortal Foundation cultivator like Wu Xiu? Only now did Qin Wenyan slowly incline his head, staring at Jia Gu in the air. His eyes were extremely cold as he spoke. If you want to kill me, it means that you want to participate in the battle between us and the White Tiger people. You only need to say that you want to participate. Maybe we would all be lucky today. White Tiger meat and Sky Rock meat together, I'm sure it would be a different flavor. Boom. A golden light flashed in the sky. Jia Gu's body radiated a golden light that was akin to sharp blades slicing through space, exuding a terrifying pressure. Qin Wenyan didn't move. He calmly looked at Jia Gu and said, "There's no need to rush to vent your anger. At the very least, you have to tell me if you want to participate in this life and death battle. Otherwise, who knows if I'll kill you or not." Jia Gu swept his gaze over the people around Qin Wenyan. He only had a few greater demons with him. How could he fight against so many people? If it was a life and death battle, these people would definitely gang up on him. You are not qualified to fight to the death with me. I just want you to understand that you need to be qualified to be arrogant. A terrifyingly sharp light cascaded down on Qin Wenyan. Let me see how strong you are exactly. As soon as he finished speaking, he slashed out with the sharp rock sword. The light was dazzling and indestructible. Behind Qin Wenyan, an expert from the Battle Saint tribe blasted out. Fist light filled the sky as a thunderous boom echoed out. Qin Wenyan calmly stared at the air as he spoke, "Be careful not to kill or cripple them." As the sound of his voice faded, the experts from the Battle Saint tribe behind him all stepped out. Several higher-level experts from the Namhuang clan also soared up into the air. Their countenances were ice-cold, their anger had yet to dissipate. The people in the surroundings hurriedly retreated. A thunderous battle instantly erupted in the air as the heavens and earth trembled. However, Qin Wenyan, Mo Qingcheng and the others still calmly sat there, enjoying their roasted meat. They had no intentions of participating in the battle at all. "Despicable fellow, you are a coward and don't dare to fight. Is this your capital?" Jia Gu's roar of rage rang out. "Seems like you feel that I should jump 3 levels to fight you just because I'm proud. Since this is the case, I have no objections. But you should at least let me see where your capital is. A 9th-level Immortal Foundation expert can't even face a group attack. What qualifications do you have to ask me to fight you alone? Great Demon Sky Rock, do you still want face?" Qin Wenyan mocked. "Everyone is like this, they have 2 requirements for themselves and others." Li Yufeng laughed. Very swiftly, the screams of misery from several experts from the Tianping people rang out in the air. Jia Gu suffered the frenzied attacks of the experts from the Battle Saint tribe and the Namhuang clan. How could they let him go so easily? A storm of attacks rained down on him, shattering his incomparably tough bones. It was unknown how many of them were broken as he roared in rage. As a 9th-level greater demon from the Tianping people, he was actually ganged up on and beaten so miserably. This was simply a great humiliation. "Qin Wenyan, you will regret this," he roared in a low voice. As the sound of his voice faded, another thunderous boom rang out. The gigantic fists of the experts from the Battle Saint tribe slammed into his back, almost shattering his wings. He coughed out a few mouthfuls of blood, appearing extremely miserable. Such a scene caused the hearts of everyone to tremble. Right now, Qin Wenyin and the experts from the Namhuang clan were like gods of death. If anyone dared to antagonize them, it would be equivalent to becoming their enemy. Not long after, the incomparably gigantic great rock Jiagu was slammed into the ground, on the verge of death. That incomparably dazzling body of his was riddled with wounds as fresh blood flowed unceasingly. Such a miserable state caused the hair of everyone to stand on end. If Jiagu had said earlier that he wanted to participate in a life-and-death battle, most probably, Qin Wenyin would have ordered him to be roasted. "Are you really not afraid of offending people like this?" Li Yufeng asked. "I didn't offend anyone, it's people who want to offend me." Qin Wenyin calmly spoke. He wouldn't create trouble, but since Jiagu took the initiative to come here, could it be that he had to lower his head? There are countless geniuses in the immortal realms who died because of personal feelings. Endure it for now and take a step back. That way, there will be fewer grudges. Li Yufeng spoke again. Qin Wendian stared at Li Yufeng's handsome face. He knew that Li Yufeng wanted to understand him, hence, he used words to probe him. This Li Yufeng seemed to be very curious about him. Staring at Li Yufeng's eyes, Qin Wenyin slowly spoke. "What's the point of stellar martial cultivators? On the path of cultivation, if you don't advance, you will fall behind. Only by advancing unceasingly would you be able to soar above the heavens and earth. If you restrict your heart, how would you be able to soar above the heavens? I cultivate the martial path, seeking to be able to do things to my heart's content, seeking to be free and unrestrained, living a carefree life. I won't bully others, but others cannot bully me. If someone dares to bully me, I can only suppress them." Everyone felt their hearts trembling when they heard Qin Wentian's words. That's right, the vast majority of people were mortals. They pursued the path of cultivation because they wanted to be able to do things to their heart's content, not being restricted by others, not being suppressed. Naturally, because the path of cultivation bestowed great power to people, allowing them to roam the heavens and earth unhindered, there were some people who gradually grew arrogant, thinking that they were the only one in the world. When they did things, they only cared about their own benefits, not caring about the life and death of others. An example was Huang Yudi. He was incomparably arrogant. Just because his elder brother praised Qing'e, he claimed that Qing'e was his elder brother's woman. "What if I can't suppress them?" Li Yufeng laughed. Everyone in the world was like Qin Wenyin, suppressing those who offend him. However, there were countless experts in the immortal realms. There would always be existences stronger than you. How could he suppress them? For example, the battle of grudges. The powers behind those geniuses would cause one's hair to stand on end just thinking about it. Qin Wendian understood what Li Yufeng was referring to. He replied, "If there are people who want to kill you and you can't suppress them, you can't possibly just wait for death, right? Your only path is naturally to flee. When you can suppress them, you will return. If you can't surpass them forever, just accept your fate then." A very simple logic. Li Yufeng laughed. In other words, you are now able to suppress the White Tiger People's Alliance. That's why you came back. Qin Wendian didn't deny it. Everyone returned from the battle and continued to enjoy the white tiger meat. Their immortal energy grew stronger as their immortal foundations glowed with resplendent light as their bloodline power surged. Such a transformation caused the people in the surroundings to have the same thoughts as Li Yufeng. "Why do I feel that you look so familiar?" Qin Wentian's gaze suddenly landed on Baiming Nongyue, who was beside Li Yufeng. There was no doubt that Baiming Nongyue was extremely beautiful. That kind of demeanor, even if she didn't say anything, was extraordinary. Her beauty was different from Mo Qingqing's. "Maybe you have met my elder sister before?" Baiming Nongyue smiled. "She is much more famous than me and is also the #1 beauty of our Hokage Sengoku kingdom. If you have met her before, you would naturally not be able to forget her." "Your elder sister?" A look of contemplation appeared on Qin Wentian's face. Staring at that beautiful countenance, he suddenly thought of a certain person. He smiled. The matters of the world were truly wondrous. Bai Mingnongyue was actually the younger sister of that woman. "They're here." At this moment, Li Yufeng spoke. The people around Qin Wenyan all turned their gazes over. They could all sense a terrifying pressure rushing over. Seems like they had gathered very quickly and were rushing over here to kill their way over. Numerous figures stood up, preparing for battle. "Let's finish eating first. The white tiger meat is extremely nutritious, don't waste it. Let's fight after we're full. Maybe we can continue roasting more after we're done." Qin Wenyan sat there calmly, his words causing the hearts of the experts from the Battle Saint tribe to feel more at ease. Seems like Qin Wenyan was extremely confident. They had personally witnessed Qin Wenyan transforming into a towering giant. The him now, if Huang Shatian didn't act, most probably no one would be able to do anything to him. They continued to feast on the white tiger meat and their movements grew even faster. The gigantic white tiger meat was almost completely devoured by them. The immortal energy in their bodies surged wildly, as though it was about to gush out. All of them had recovered to their peak state. The pressure bore down, those who had nothing to do with it retreated. Li Yufeng stood up and smiled, "Thank you for your hospitality." After speaking, he brought Bai Mingnongyue away, not at all polite. Over 10 experts arrived. When the people from the White Tiger people saw Qin Wenyan and the others roasting the white tiger meat, their countenances turned extremely ugly to behold. Their baleful eyes seemed to be able to kill as they stared at Li Yufeng. "You participated as well? He treated us to meat and I couldn't resist the temptation. However, your grudges have nothing to do with me." Li Yufeng shrugged. "I won't participate." "Do you think I won't participate just because you say so?" An 8th-level Immortal Foundation expert from the White Tiger people spoke. His eyes were incomparably cold as a tyrannical aura engulfed this entire space. Li Yufeng frowned. "If eating the white tiger meat would cause jealousy and hatred, I'll welcome you anytime." After speaking, Li Yufeng directly departed, as calm as ever. Other experts from the White Tiger people wouldn't come looking for him. He also didn't eat the meat of their tribesmen and there was no grudge between them. If the White Tiger people want to come, he would accompany them. Qin Wenyan. Numerous cold gazes landed on Qin Wenyan. Only to see Qin Wenyan staring at Mo Qingqing beside him as he smiled. "Qingqing, since you've eaten your fill, it's time for you to fight. Later on, you can just sit on my shoulder." "Emichim." Mo Qingqing nodded lightly. After that, Qin Wenyan stood up. Rumbling sounds rang out as he transformed into a giant over 100 meters tall and placed Mo Qingqing on his shoulder. His entire body circulated with a supreme immortal light that enveloped him, including Mo Qingqing. Upon seeing this scene, everyone couldn't help but to shiver in their hearts. This fellow was so confident to the extent that he placed his wife on his shoulder. Did he think that no one would be able to break through his defense? Before this, I've said it before. If someone wants our lives, what should we do? Qin Wenyan asked. "Suppress them." An expert from the Battle Saint tribe spoke. "In that case, suppress them all." As the sound of Qin Wenyan's voice faded, he stepped out, causing the ground to tremble as a terrifying fissure appeared. Both parties rushed towards each other. There was no need for unnecessary words. There was only killing intent. Chapter 1199. Rumble, the earth trembled. Qin Wenyan's steps caused cracks to appear on the ground. His 100-meter-tall body radiated a divine glow as he blasted out a palm imprint. This palm imprint was accompanied by the ancient suppression word imprints, blotting out the sun. Qin Wenyan's body was over 100 meters tall and he stared down at everyone with disdain. When he attacked, the power radiating from him was like a supreme divine might descending from the heavens. "His body is gigantic, attack him and take his life." That 8th-level Immortal Foundation expert from the White Tiger King race roared. His baleful aura towered up into the sky. He transformed into a gigantic white tiger that was as imposing as a mountain and was about the same size as Qin Wenyan. The White Tiger King race was even more powerful and terrifying. Upon hearing his voice, many experts simultaneously unleashed terrifying attacks. blocking the ancient suppression word imprints descending from the heavens. At the same time, they attacked Qin Wendian as boundless attacks gushed out. Such a gigantic target could be hit even with one's eyes closed. Qin Wendian could only endure it head-on. But at this moment, many experts floated before Qin Wendian. Divine apes appeared behind the experts of the Battle Saint tribe, howling in rage. The bones in their bodies radiated a dazzling light as they blasted out with their palms, akin to the arms of divine apes, fighting against the heavens and earth. The holy maidens of the Namhuang clan were bathed in flames that could incinerate the heavens and earth. The shadow of the phoenix roared, and there were also several GD's followers that were proficient in spatial energy. They were able to negate the attacks of their opponents and could even create spatial barriers. In an instant, the entire battle revolved around Qin Wendian. The White Tiger royalty expert seemed to be the leader, but in truth, there were a few other powerful characters beside the White Tiger King. However, they were all extremely cautious and weren't as direct and ruthless as the demons. Since Qin Wendian dared to kill his way here, they wanted to see how strong Qin Wendian's combat prowess was. He was able to gather so many experts to roast White Tiger meat and wait for them here. If they didn't personally witness Qin Wendian's combat prowess, they wouldn't be at ease. Hence, they decided to let the White Tiger King fight against Qin Wendian first. Qin Wendian roasted the White Tiger. The White Tiger people must be furious. Two huge silhouettes, Qin Wendian and the White Tiger of the royal family, were facing each other. Although the surrounding cultivators were fighting and the world was shaking, only Qin Wendian and the White Tiger were the most obvious targets. Many aftershocks of the attacks landed on Qin Wendian's body. Some of the attacks even broke through the layers of defense and hit him, but they couldn't break through Qin Wendian's frightening true godlike body. Qin Wendian continued walking forwards. Mo Qingqing stood on his shoulder, her long hair fluttering in the wind. She was incomparably quiet, as though she had absolute confidence in Qin Wendian. She understood Qin Wendian. Qin Wendian would take risks for himself, but he wouldn't be willing to see her suffer even the slightest grievance. Since Qin Wendian dared to place her on his shoulder, this indicated that her man had absolute confidence in himself. At this moment, the White Tiger of the royal family blasted out an evil god's fist. This incomparably gigantic fist light seemed to contain countless white tigers galloping and howling in the air. Qin Wendian lifted his palms and countered with a palm strike. As this palm strike blasted out, the roars of dragons shook the skies, causing the entire space to tremble violently. The body of the White Tiger of the royal family shone with a king light. In the center of its brows, a gigantic ancient king character appeared as a surge of kingly baleful qi gushed forth, enveloping its entire body. When it attacked again, the heavens and earth trembled. This White Tiger of the royal family unleashed a demonic art that contained boundless might. The roars of 10,000 tigers shook the heavens and earth as the baleful qi shook the heavens and earth. Qin Wendian felt the terrifying energy gushing towards him, causing his body to tremble uncontrollably. Boundless runic light circulated around him, and above his immortal foundation, thousands of ancient characters could be seen floating in the air. Each of the characters radiated a divine glow, causing the roars of the 10,000 tigers to be suppressed as the baleful aura was destroyed. Qin Wendian cultivated in the sky connecting immortal rock for several years. During these years, he didn't intentionally raise his cultivation base and spent all his time and effort on cultivating his innate techniques. In addition to the sky connecting mirror on the second level, any innate techniques could be manifested to perfection. Qin Wendian continued to comprehend, and although it was impossible for him to cultivate the innate techniques to the extreme, he still managed to accomplish a leap in his cultivation. He managed to fuse all the powerful innate techniques he cultivated into one, creating many unique attacks. Hence, the current Qin Wendian was born. Qin Wendian exuded a solemn aura as his true divinity body flowed with boundless resplendent light. The grand palm of truth was akin to the palm of a great Buddha, manifested from the god's hand. There were many ancient characters engraved on it as it bore down on the White Tiger King. At this moment, not only the White Tiger King, the experts below all inclined their heads and stared at the sky. That gigantic palm descended from the heavens, bringing with it boundless ancient characters as it slammed down towards the White Tiger King. Even some of the more powerful 9th-level Immortal Foundation experts felt their hearts trembling when they felt the terrifying pressure. It was simply too powerful. This attack of Qin Wenyan could be said to be world-shaking. The tens of thousands of roaring tigers around the White Tiger's body were crushed. The White Tiger roared again and again. The light of the Tao of Kings bloomed crazily. The White Tiger's huge body felt a faint sense of fear. The huge palm arrived in an instant, destroying everything. The attacks of the White Tiger were all crushed and destroyed. Although the power of the palm was destroyed, it still fiercely pressed on the White Tiger's huge body. With a rumbling sound, the White Tiger King was forced to the ground. How would Qin Wenyan give his opponent a chance to catch a breather? He directly unleashed another sword strike, one immortal slaying sword, accompanied by boundless ancient characters that slammed into the White Tiger King. The White Tiger King howled miserably, inclining his head and howling. A look of reluctance could be seen in his eyes, but when he saw the coldness in Qin Wenyan's eyes, a sense of sorrow appeared in his heart. His White Tiger race was tyrannical and domineering, ruling over the western regions of the immortal realms. They controlled many demonic beasts in the human territories, and there were countless beauties who came to them to entertain them. There were even humans who were willing to become their servants, begging for their favors. The White Tiger King race was lofty, unexcelled in the world. Their arrogance towered up into the sky. When they entered the Tiandao Sacred Academy, where geniuses were as common as clouds, they thought that the White Tiger people would be able to display their brilliance. But now, the White Tiger people were suppressed everywhere and suffered many defeats. In fact, they were even roasted alive as food for humans. This was a great humiliation. Now, he himself was about to be destroyed, becoming food for humans. When he thought of this, he felt even more sorrow before his death. If the White Tiger people were low profile and not as tyrannical as they were in the outside world, maybe they wouldn't have to face such a calamity. Tears actually flowed down from his large eyes. However, when he stared at Qin Wenyan in the air, his eyes were filled with boundless venom. With a thunderous boom, the White Tiger King was killed, shocking the entire battlefield. How can he be so powerful? Many people felt shock in their hearts as they stared at Qin Wenyan. Their expressions were incredibly unsightly to behold. This was far stronger compared to when Qin Wenyan fought against Leba back then. That innate technique he used could simply crush the entire sky, containing boundless might. It was simply too terrifying. However, they basically didn't have time to think too much about it. Qin Wenyan turned his gaze to the experts below. When he saw a location where the Battle Saint tribe was at a disadvantage, he spoke, "Retreat, let me handle this." As the sound of his voice faded, he directly blasted out a palm imprint. That expert from the Battle Saint tribe who received his voice transmission immediately retreated. Qin Wenyan's violent attack slammed down, directly shattering the immortal foundation of that expert from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom as he slammed into the ground. Who can block him? Someone roared. They gathered their strength and came here with the advantage. In fact, other than Qin Wenyan, they already had the advantage, injuring a few experts. But if no one could block Qin Wenyan, the situation would be the same as back then when Huang Shatian joined the battle. The situation would be reversed in an instant, turning the heavens and earth upside down. No one stepped forward. Even for those at the 9th level of Immortal Foundation, their hearts were filled with trepidation after the White Tiger King was killed in a single strike. No one stepped forward to fight against Qin Wenyan. This caused Qin Wenyan to be able to attack freely. Those who were fighting against Qin Wenyan would be instantly killed by Qin Wenyan's tyrannical attacks. In just a short period of time, 3 experts had already fallen. Bzz. Someone retreated from the battlefield. Go! Someone roared in a low voice, retreating as he fought. The battle has just begun and the other party was already preparing to retreat. This caused the spectators who thought there would be a heaven-shaking battle to have strange looks on their faces. As expected, cultivation was like this. It was never about the number of people who could decide a battle. Rather, it was about the person at the peak. In this place, Qin Wenyin was at the peak and could be said to be invincible. No one dared to go up against him, causing the situation to instantly crumble. The experts from the Battle Saint tribe and the Namhuang clan alliance saw that their opponents were retreating. How could they let them off? They frenziedly chased after them, trapping their opponents. Concentrate your strength to kill a portion of them. The White Tiger people will be the main force. Qin Wentian's voice thundered through the air, causing the White Tiger people to howl in rage. Everyone followed Qin Wentian's instructions and started to surround the fleeing greater demons of the White Tiger people. They knew that it was impossible for them to kill all of them. Qin Wenyin himself continued moving forward, causing the ground to rumble. An expert with a lower cultivation base stretched out his palm as a gigantic palm imprint slammed down from the sky, directly slapping that person to death. How would he be able to survive a single strike? Terrifying. Everyone stared at Qin Wenyin. He was like a heavenly divinity, simply an invincible existence. Who would have thought that Li Yufeng was right? Qin Wenyin dared to lead so many experts here. As expected, he must be extremely confident. Maybe this isn't his strongest state. If he unleashed his full strength, maybe only characters on the same level as Huang Shatian would be able to kill him. Sadly, Huang Shatian is currently being restrained. The experts silently mused. At this moment, there were several greater white tigers trapped, and there were also experts who instantly fled far away. But as for those white tiger people who were trapped, they would most probably become food for Qin Wenyin. Qin Wenyin instantly chased after them. But not long after, everyone saw him returning. Evidently, he wasn't willing to waste time on a pointless pursuit. He wanted to kill those who were trapped first. Those trapped experts all turned ashen. After chasing the Namhuang clan alliance for so long, terror finally appeared in the depths of their hearts. This was the terror of facing death. Chapter 1200. Qin Wentian's gigantic body stepped back, causing the ground to rumble. His cold eyes swept over to those trapped beasts as his countenance turned ice cold. Several experts of the White Tiger people had already gone crazy. Trapped beasts would still struggle, let alone white tigers. However, was there any use? Qin Wentian's palm blasted out towards one of the battlefields. That violent white tiger's eyes flashed with despair when it saw the palm imprint that blotted out the sun descending upon it. The palm imprint slammed down, causing a thunderous boom to ring out. That white tiger was injured from the impact. An expert of the Namhuang clan stepped forward and stabbed out with his finger. A moment later, phoenix flames erupted from the white tiger's body. The white tiger's gigantic body was instantly engulfed by inextinguishable flames as it screamed in agony. It stared at the battlefield around it, seeing how its tribesmen were slaughtered, becoming food for humans. At this moment, the experts of the White Tiger people, other than hatred, all of them felt deep regret. Why did they have to make such a great enemy? Why did they have to covet the holy maiden of the Namhuang clan? If not, they wouldn't have ended up in such a miserable state. Those who entered the Tiandao Sacred Academy were all elites. If those elders and tribesmen who were waiting outside knew of what happened here, how sad would they feel? Under the rules of the Tiandao Sacred Academy, immortal senses didn't exist. These geniuses originally had the immortal senses of their elders in their bodies, but they had long been erased by the formless heavenly Tao. No matter what they experienced inside, no one in the outside world would know of it. In other words, the elders of the White Tiger people were waiting outside, but they had no idea that their tribesmen were being slaughtered. The battle gradually calmed down. All the experts who were trapped were killed without exception. The bodies of the white tigers that had transformed into their true forms had already ignited with terrifying flames. Once again, they began to roast the white tigers. Not long after, Qin Wenyin and the others acted as if nothing had happened. They continued to feast on the white tiger's meat. The fragrance of the white tiger wafted through the air, making people salivate. It was unknown how many experts wanted to taste the white tiger's meat. We are too late, we are too late. A voice drifted over. The crowd only saw a beam of golden light flashing past with lightning speed. After that, the monk Bujie appeared before Qin Wenin and the others. His eyes were wide open as an expression of pain and agony could be seen on his face. Saliva flowed down from his mouth as he unceremoniously tore off a piece of white tiger meat and tossed it into his mouth. "Monk, I didn't ask you to eat, right?" Qin Wendian said when he saw Bujie appear. Brothers share weal and woe together. A mere white tiger meat is nothing. It's just a small matter. Bujie straightforwardly spoke, as though he viewed the white tiger meat as dung. However, the way he wolfed down the white tiger meat was as though he hated that he didn't eat enough, allowing Qin Wendian and the others to finish it all. This wasn't food, this was food snatching. Qin Wendian glanced at Bujie with disdain. The white tiger meat was the purest form of nourishment in the world. Immortal herbs and immortal pills couldn't compare to it. If it was in the particle world of the past, it would be a divine item that could revive the dead and regenerate flesh and bones. Experts who ate it would be able to strengthen their physiques and improve their talent. "Junior brother, you are?" At this moment, a voice drifted over. Buyu pressed his palms together, staring at Bujie's actions speechlessly. "Senior brother, I promised you that I wouldn't bathe every day. But I can't abstain from eating meat. Bujie, if I abstain from eating meat, what joy would there be in being a monk?" How would Bujie know how to reflect? He spoke frankly with assurance. He even stared at Buchan. "Senior brother Buchan, am I right?" "Junior brother, your words are wrong. As monks, our purpose is to cultivate and nurture our character. When has it ever been for pleasure?" Buchan solemnly spoke. He was immaculately dressed and had a handsome countenance. He didn't look like a monk at all. "Senior brother is right. But this meat, how could Bujie bear to part with it?" Buchan walked up and stared at the white tiger meat. After that, his gaze landed on Bujie as he asked, "What's the most important thing in the immortal realms?" "Naturally, it's cultivation. We, the disciples of Wenshin Temple, cultivate for the sake of our ideals. Cultivation is for the sake of strengthening our bodies. Although eating meat is against the precepts, we can still sacrifice ourselves for the sake of our ideals. As the saying goes, if I don't enter hell, who would?" "So?" Bujie blinked. "Stupid, so naturally this white tiger meat can be eaten." After saying this, Buchan sat down. He picked up the meat in a graceful manner. His actions were so elegant that it was enough to mesmerize many girls. "Senior brother is brilliant." Bujie was filled with respect. As expected from senior brother, his words made sense. Even when he ate meat, he was so particular about it. His actions were also beautiful, he was just too brilliant. Amitba. Buyu could only shut his mouth and close his eyes. The people around looked at the two monks and were totally defeated. They were filled with respect for the monks of Wenshin Temple. "High monks. They were just too high. If I don't enter hell, who would?" Qin Wenin stared at the two monks in front of him as his eyes flickered unceasingly. Their words were so logical that he actually had nothing to say. He stared at Bujie wolfing down the meat. Although Buchan's actions were elegant, he ate extremely quickly as well. Qin Wentian's heart was dripping blood. The people from the Namhuang clan and Battle Saint tribe also blinked. In the next instant, everyone started to increase their speed, frenziedly snatching the white tiger meat. This scene completely toppled the worldview of the geniuses in the surroundings. This scene of them eating meat was even more fascinating compared to the previous battles. It was simply too fascinating. Several gigantic white tigers were actually devoured cleanly in a very short period of time. Burp. Monk Bujie burped. He licked his lips and spoke with a hint of longing in his voice. "When will there be more to eat? Remember to wait for me next time." Qin Wenin was completely defeated by the shamelessness of this monk. After that, he replied, "No problem. You can come with us to the other sacred academies. If there's a huge battle, just leave the roasted white tiger meat to us." Monk Bujie himself was already at the 6th level of Immortal Foundation. Although he was shameless, his combat prowess shouldn't be underestimated. In addition to the fact that his two senior apprentice brothers were extremely powerful, they would be a great help to him. Since the other party was being impolite, he naturally wouldn't be polite as well. You are not kind enough. You guys have a death grudge with the White Tiger people. If we participate, wouldn't we be hated to death? Bujia spoke. Didn't you say that we would share weal and woe together? In addition, you ate the White Tiger meat, shouldn't you return the favor? Qin Wentian asked. Brothers naturally have to be loyal to each other. However, life and death are more important than anything else. You want me to risk my life? Do you have the heart to do that? Bujia thickened his skin as he spoke. Yes, I do. Qin Wentian nodded. Since you want me to risk my life, it means that you don't have me in your heart. Since that's the case, there's no reason for me to risk my life for you. Senior brother, don't you agree? Bujia shamelessly stared at Buchan. Junior brother's words make sense. Buchan nodded. Qin Wentian at this moment really wanted to slap these two shameless monks to death. However, since we ate Brother Qin's White Tiger meat, we won't participate in the battle. It's still possible for us to go and cheer for you. If we meet powerful characters, we can seek guidance from them and spar with them. Monks are benevolent, there's no need to fight to the death. Buchan spoke with a straight face. Senior brother is wise. Bujia kowtowed once more, filled with admiration. He, Bujia, only admired these two senior brothers. Qin Wentian laughed. Although monks were shameless, they could still be considered kind. How refreshing. If you roast sky rock meat in the future, remember to call me. Bujia turned his gaze to Jiagu and the other great rocks, drooling with desire. Although Jiagu was heavily injured, his sense of hearing was still intact. When he heard Bujia's words, he almost coughed out blood. What was going on in this world? They were a major power of the western regions, Saint Beast-ranked greater demons, born to be kings. Right now, the White Tiger people were reduced to food on their plates. These people were eating the White Tiger meat and were actually fantasizing about eating Sky Rock meat? Were the people of the Sacred Academy all crazy? Thinking back to his earlier arrogance, it wasn't that Qin Wentian couldn't fight against him, but rather, Qin Wentian couldn't be bothered to do so. Qin Wentian's group of people directly ganged up on him, disdaining to waste time on him. His pride had suffered a heavy blow. Boom! At this moment, a terrifying aura gushed forth from one of them. Her immortal foundation started to circulate frenziedly, causing everyone to turn their gazes over. This was a holy maiden of the Namhuang clan, with a cultivation base at the 6th level. At this moment, her immortal foundation energy was rising rapidly as boundless flames enveloped her body, causing the people in the surroundings to be shocked. She was about to breaking through just by eating meat? This is truly a joyous matter in the mortal world. Bujia was incomparably envious. Many of the experts here could feel the changes in their bodies after eating the White Tiger meat. However, breaking through wasn't something that could be done just by eating meat. It was only because this holy maiden of the Namhuang clan already had a certain level of comprehension and the White Tiger meat just happened to provide an opportunity for her to break through. Because the White Tiger meat contained the essence energy of heaven and earth, her breakthrough this time around was extremely smooth. The vast amount of immortal energy she needed was actually replenished by the White Tiger meat. This holy maiden of the Namhuang clan actually managed to break through a level in just a few hours. It could be said to be a miracle. Saint Beast White Tiger, it gathers the essence of heaven and earth. It's even more useful than immortal pills and supreme immortal treasures. Someone sighed, feeling some regret that he didn't go up to share a portion of the soup with Qin Wentian earlier. Let's move out, we will head to the next Sacred Academy. Qin Wentian spoke. There were still many people who hadn't gathered together, including Qin. How could he feel at ease? Everyone's expressions turned solemn. The relaxed atmosphere they felt after a great victory vanished. They had no idea how their friends from the other 3 sacred academies were doing. Were they still alive? Qin Wentian stood up. The group of them then departed in a grandiose manner, heading towards the direction of the sky-connecting realm. After passing through the sky-connecting realm, they headed towards the sacred academy where Qin Wenyan cultivated. He was relatively more familiar with this place and hoped that he would be able to find them. This group of people moved in an imposing manner, attracting the gazes of all the experts present. Staring at this group of experts as well as Qin Wenyan in the lead, many people's eyes gleamed with sharpness. It was Qin Wenyan and the people from the Namhuang clan. They had killed their way back. Qingqing. Qin Wenyan hugged Qingqing and smiled at her. After that, a thunderous rumbling sound echoed out as his body expanded frenziedly, blotting out the sun. Countless people in the center of the sacred academy inclined their heads and stared at the gigantic figure as their hearts pounded. On the shoulder of that gigantic figure, there was even a supreme beauty. This scene was extremely shocking. "Let's go." Qin Wenyan's voice was like heavenly thunder. He stepped out, causing the entire sacred academy to tremble. Chapter 12:01. In the past, this sacred academy was a place where many greater demons gathered. But after the 4 sacred academies were connected, many humans like Wu Xiu also came here to cultivate. They roamed around the 4 sacred academies, and there were also many cultivation grounds in this sacred academy that could raise one's strength. When they saw Qin Wenyan's silhouette, all the experts here felt shock in their hearts. This fellow has returned, but would he be able to shake Huang Wudi and the other experts in this sacred academy? They all knew that Huang Wudi and Huang Yudi were both in this sacred academy. In addition, Huang Wudi and Huang Yudi came later. As for the reason, they also knew. Because Qin Wenyan's woman, the daughter of Changqing the Great, the disciple of GD, was currently on the run in this sacred academy. Qin Wenyan's woman was undoubtedly one of the people they wanted to capture the most. This was especially so for Huang Yudi, who hated Qin Wenyan to the bone, as well as Bai Mao of the White Tiger people. Hence, both of them came to this sacred academy to search for traces of Qin. Qin Wenyan has arrived. I wonder what happened to Qin. If she was captured by Huang Yudi, given Huang Yudi and Bai Mao's personalities, I really don't dare to believe that they would do something to Qin to anger Qin Wenyan, forcing Qin Wenyan to die. Everyone mused silently. Seems like there would definitely be a huge clash in this sacred academy. Qin was indeed in this sacred academy. Back then, she encountered her senior sister and the experts from the Battle Saint tribe, but they chased after her. Her senior sister and the experts from the Battle Saint tribe fought to the death, blocking their path and allowing her to escape first. This battle allowed the experts from the Battle Saint tribe to know of her existence, and their pursuit intensified. During these few days, she had been constantly on the run. In the depths of the sacred academy, Qin was traversing through the forest. At this moment, she suddenly felt a faint spatial fluctuation. After that, her silhouette flickered and appeared on a stone. Stretching her hand out, Qin placed her palm on the stone. A moment later, a mark appeared on the stone as a look of joy appeared in her eyes. It's the mark left behind by senior sister. Qin thought in her heart while a strand of spirit appeared in her beautiful eyes. Even though she was still beautiful, she seemed to be slightly exhausted now. Presumably, she had suffered a great deal during these past few days. However, when she saw the unique mark left behind by her senior sister, her complexion became much better. Her silhouette flickered as Qin searched for the mark. This mark was unique to the disciples of GD, and only they could undo it. There was no need to worry about others. And indeed, after several hours, she saw a beautiful maiden standing there on a mountain peak. This maiden was tall and had an elegant demeanor, exuding a sense of magnificence. She had an extraordinary background and was also a disciple of GD. It was just that she had encountered an unprecedented ordeal in the sacred academy. Senior sister Nye. Qin's silhouette flickered as she appeared before the maiden. This maiden was named Nye Yunchang and had outstanding talent. She had an extraordinary status and had always taken good care of Qin in the sect. The other apprentice sisters loved to talk about the two of them together. Junior sister, did something happen to you? Nye Yunchang asked. No. Qin shook her head. When facing her fellow apprentice sisters, she didn't reveal a cold demeanor. Instead, she seemed very close to them. That's good. Nie Yunchang nodded. After which, she gazed into the distance. I wonder how the other apprentice sisters are doing? They should be fine. Qing'er mumbled as she gazed into the distance. Although she said this, she was extremely worried in her heart. Was the senior sister who had protected her in the past doing well? If something happened to her senior sister, she wouldn't be able to rest easy. A mocking smile appeared on Nie Yunchang's face, but Qing'er didn't notice it. She turned her head and spoke to Nie Yunning. Senior sister, this place is too conspicuous. Let's go somewhere else. Okay, Qing'er, you lead the way. Nie Yunchang smiled and nodded. Qing'er nodded lightly. After which, her aura gushed forth as she stepped forward. Nie Yunchang followed closely behind, spatial fluctuations emanating from her. Not only that, the spatial fluctuations were extremely powerful. Qing'er was somewhat bewildered. She turned her head and called out, Senior sister, but before the sound of her voice faded, she saw an extremely unfamiliar face. There was no smile on that face, nor was there the warmth of the past. There was only boundless coldness and anger, as though she had seen the person who had killed her father. When she saw this pair of eyes, Qing'er froze. Her heart pounded violently. She simply couldn't believe her eyes. How could she describe those eyes? They were filled with so much hatred. Was this really the senior sister she respected and respected? The incomparably violent spatial energy in Nie Yunchang's hand directly slammed into Qing'er's body, rushing into Qing'er's body without any reservations. Earlier, Qing'er had been suspicious of that tyrannical spatial energy, but it had actually been used to attack her. This scene was too sudden, and Qing'er was caught unprepared. She had no time to react. How could she have defended against Nie Yunchang? Even under normal circumstances, she wouldn't have imagined that her senior sister would be so ruthless towards her. She wouldn't even dare to dream of such a thing, let alone when she was fleeing for her life. She had been so happy to see Nie Yunchang. Even at this moment, her face was filled with endless bewilderment. She didn't understand, she truly didn't understand. She knew that her senior sister usually had a grudge against her, but she had always thought that it was just a small grudge between them. As long as she treated her senior sister sincerely, she would be able to erase that grudge. She had never placed it in her heart before. Senior sister, why? Qing'er called out. Even now, she was still calling her senior sister. She didn't understand. Why? Nie Yunchang's face was filled with hatred. She suddenly started laughing uproariously, her voice shaking the air. The smile on her face was replaced by boundless coldness. Her beautiful countenance was now filled with boundless hatred and coldness. I was born in an immortal emperor aristocrat clan, and my ancestor is an immortal emperor. Although he isn't as dazzling as your father, the Chongqing the Great, being the ruler of an immortal empire, he is still an immortal emperor expert. My status is high, and I have outstanding talent. Ever since I was young, I've always been a heaven's chosen, displaying dazzling magnificence. My growth was a legend in the history of my clan, and after I entered the tutelage of my master, my status in the clan grew even higher. I'm a proud princess, and even the ancestor personally guided me. Nie Yunchang icily spoke. Everyone who entered the Tiandao Sacred Academy had their own legends. They were all geniuses that exuded magnificence throughout the generations, dragons and phoenixes among men. Nie Yunchang was no exception. I didn't disappoint my clan. Even under the tutelage of my master, I still displayed my dazzling brilliance. My fellow apprentices all liked me, praising me, and the amount of time my master spent with me exceeded that of my fellow apprentices. All of these proved that I was born extraordinary, and my life would surely be incomparably glorious. Nie Yunchang continued. Qing'er quietly watched on. Even though the energy in her body was ravaging her, causing her to lose all resistance, she still wanted to know why all of this was happening. Was it jealousy? Everything changed after you appeared. You are known as an innate immortal king, and on your path of cultivation, you should be able to step into the immortal king realm at the very least. This is the endpoint of many, but it is your starting point. You are proficient in spatial energy and have outstanding talent. Not only that, you have an even more illustrious background. You are the princess of the Evergreen Immortal Empire, the most doted-on daughter of the Evergreen Immortal Emperor. Countless geniuses want to marry you, and after you entered the sect, the senior apprentice sisters took even more care of you. Master also favored you greatly, even exceeding the expectations he had for me. Nye Yunchang continued. Qing'er knew all of this. Her heart was extremely sharp, and she could tell that Nye Yunchang was a little unhappy about this. However, their relationship was still very good, and Nye Yunchang also took great care of her. She believed that both of them were very willing to resolve the grudge between them. Also, based on her understanding of Nye Yunchang, even if she was jealous, she wouldn't do such a thing. Naturally, I can understand all of this. Given how vast the immortal realms are, there will always be people more dazzling than you. Also, among my fellow apprentices, there are some who are even more talented than me. Didn't they also take great care of me? Your existence wouldn't affect my legend, I would still have a bright future ahead of me. However, all of this was destroyed by you in the Sacred Academy, destroyed by you. Nye Yunchang roared, her eyes were as cold as ice, wanting to slice Qing'er into 1,000 pieces. Because of Huang Shaishan's words, many people had ill intentions towards you. Our fellow apprentices all wanted to protect you, but this was all because of our love for you. Why did you bring them into this war? They had no connection with the Nam Huang clan, and they didn't even know your lover, Qin Wenyan. They all had their own lives, yet because of you, many of them died. Qing'er stared at Nye Yunchang, feeling pain in her heart. How could she not be sad? Back then when Huang Shatian and the others descended, the Nam Huang clan, Qin Wenyan, the 9 Emperors' immortal state, and the White Tiger people had already started a war. That war was the fuse, and everyone knew that the cause of that war was because of her. The people of the 9 Emperors' immortal state had humiliated her. The people of the Nam Huang clan, the people of the immortal Qianbian Gate, and even the people of the Wenxin Temple, none of them knew her. But they all stood by Qin Wentian's side, participating in this war without any hesitation. Qing'er thought that they were already friends. Laughable, how laughable. You are actually fine. How can you be fine? Nye Yunchang laughed uproariously. Do you know that I was captured by them and stripped of my pride in front of everyone? Do you know what kind of humiliation I had to endure? My life was ruined just like that. Because of you, it was completely ruined. Qing'er felt even more pain in her heart. She stared at Nye Yunchang, hating herself. An expression of guilt could be seen on her face as tears appeared in her eyes. Senior sister, I'm sorry. Sorry? Nye Yunchang laughed, her laughter exceptionally cold. Is there any use in apologizing? Can apologizing be able to redeem my life? Even if I had to endure the most painful humiliation in my life, I still wanted to live on. At that moment, I hated all of them. I wanted nothing more than to hack them into 1,000 pieces. But I also hated you. Hence, I promised them that I would personally hand you over to them. Hence, they spared me. Chapter 1202. Within the Sacred Academy, Huang Wudi, Huang Yudi, and the others were together. Bai Mao and many other experts were beside them, searching for traces of Qing'er. Can Nye Yunchang locate the daughter of the Evergreen Immortal Emperor? Bai Mao asked. Since they are from the same sect and she said that she has a way to contact them, there's naturally no problem. We just have to wait for news, Huang Yudi coldly replied. The daughter of the Evergreen Immortal Emperor isn't Nye Yunchang. In this war, both sides suffered casualties. Even if we did something to Nye Yunchang, GD wouldn't dare to fall out with us. But if we act against the daughter of the Evergreen Immortal Emperor, the Chongqing the Great would definitely pay any price to fall out with us. Similarly, GD might be shaken, Huang Wudi spoke. We just won't kill her. In addition, they already ate the meat of the White Tiger people and are no longer afraid of starting a war in the immortal realms. Could it be that Brother Bai Mao still has misgivings? If there's no other way, we can just hand the daughter of the Evergreen Immortal Emperor to you. At that time, both sides can come to a compromise. It's just that Princess Qing'er will be married off to the 9 Emperor's immortal state and become your woman. I believe this isn't too bad. If brother doesn't like it, you can just give her to me, Huang Yudi coldly spoke. Huang Wudi frowned. He knew that this younger brother of his had been humiliated by Qin Wendian multiple times. Right now, he no longer cared about the consequences and would definitely punish the daughter of the evergreen immortal emperor. Because of his hatred for Qin Wenyan had already become the devil in Huang Yudi's heart. Although the elders of the younger generations wouldn't interfere in the battles between the younger generations, for example, in this war, the Namhuang clan roasted a white tiger and the white tiger people also forced the Namhuang clan to kill the holy maiden. Would the elders of the Namhuang clan dare to slaughter the descendants of the white tiger people? In that case, the peak experts of the white tiger people would similarly slaughter the descendants of the Namhuang clan. The most likely outcome was that both sides would come to a compromise, or an immortal war would break out. Once an immortal war broke out, it wouldn't be as simple as the deaths of a few juniors. Hence, everyone had their own considerations. However, there were some people who weren't easy to touch. For example, people like Qing, Huang Shatian and Huang Yudi. Most probably, Qin Wendian wouldn't dare to kill them either. When Qing'er heard Nie Yunchang's cold words, she felt an intense pain in her heart. The pain she felt was far more intense than her own injuries. She hadn't expected that the world would have such a deep hatred for her. Senior sister, I'm sorry. Qing'er continued to speak in a low voice. I know I've dragged you into this, elder sister. But I didn't mean it. I didn't think it would turn out like this. But elder sister, you can't do this. No matter how you treat me, I won't blame you. But if you do this, how will you face the other elder sisters? How will you face master? You won't be able to come back. Go back? Can I still go back? Nie Yunchang mocked herself. She stared at Qing'er, her countenance incomparably cold. Do you hate me now? Why are you in such a pitiful state? You should hate me. Why must you be so hypocritical? Do you think your hypocrisy can make me change my mind? My dear junior sister, if it wasn't for the fact that they wanted you intact, that attack wouldn't have just heavily injured you. It would have crippled your immortal foundation. That's not it. Qing'er shook her head. She stared at Nie Yunchang's countenance, but it was as though she didn't recognize her at all. Was this really her senior sister? All right, my dear junior sister, it's time for me to send you off. I hope they will also bestow the pain I've suffered to you, Nie Yunchang spoke in a cold voice. She had a smile on her face, but it was a twisted one. Why did things turn out like this? Qing'er mumbled in a low voice, her heart aching to the extreme. Nie Yunchang's words were like blades, slicing into her heart. She was born with a dislike for the grudges of the mortal world. She loved the atmosphere in her sect, and it shouldn't be so cruel. That violent spatial energy ravaged her body like a spatial storm. However, Qin Wenyan didn't seem to notice it at all. She inclined her head and stared at the sky as she closed her eyes. All of a sudden, a sealed energy in her body seemed to have been awakened. Immortal light radiated from her as a terrifying spatial storm manifested in an instant. Emichim? Nie Yunchang furrowed her brows. She could faintly sense that a shocking spatial energy was awakening within Qing'er's body. It was terrifying to the extreme, and it was actually starting to devour the spatial energy she controlled. Nie Yunchang's immortal might erupted forth as her attack grew even stronger. However, Qing'er acted as though she didn't see it. She continued to stare at the sky, completely ignoring the terrifying spatial energy that was devouring Nie Yunchang's spatial energy bit by bit, sealing it within. The light radiating from her body grew more and more terrifying. Her robes shone with boundless spatial light, and her long hair became as sharp as blades. At this moment, the spatial energy around her seemed to be on the verge of freezing. This entire space abruptly lit up with a supreme immortal light that shot up into the clouds, illuminating the entire space. How is this possible? An expression of shock appeared on Nie Yunchang's face. Her cultivation base was higher than Qing'er's, and she had even managed to land a sneak attack on Qing'er. She herself was a peerless genius, and her strength was tyrannical. Her control over spatial energy was even more tyrannical. If not, why would GD favor her so much? But at this moment, she actually felt how insignificant her spatial energy was. She stared at Chinger's cold and beautiful countenance, and the hatred in her eyes grew even more intense. Why was it like this? Why was the heavens so unfair? She was a peerless genius, yet she suffered the greatest humiliation in her life. But why was Chinger so perfect? The heavens had already bestowed upon her a noble status and shocking talent, as well as a flawless countenance. Why was the heavens still protecting her? Nie Yunchang wanted to retract her hand, but to her astonishment, she discovered that her arms seemed to have been frozen solid. Spatial energy that glowed with a golden light enveloped her arm, sealing it in place. Even the terrifying spatial energy was frozen solid at this moment, and it continued to flow towards her body. Nie Yunchang's arm was gradually sealed shut, and the fearsome spatial energy continued to flow towards her body. Gradually, her body also froze under the pressure of that terrifying spatial energy. She was actually unable to unleash any of the energy in her body. She wanted to break free from Chinga, but she discovered that it was already impossible for her to do so. Before this energy, she actually had no way to resist at all. An expression of self-mockery suddenly appeared on Nie Yunchang's face. She stared at Chinga and laughed uproariously. So this is the case. No wonder your father, Evergreen, dotes on you the most out of all his children. No wonder Master is so protective of you, instructing the senior apprentice sisters to take care of you. So this is the case. Innate immortal king? What a joke. Innate immortal king isn't the end, it's the starting point of your cultivation. Nie Yunchang laughed maniacally. She inclined her head and stared at the terrifying spatial tempests raging in the air. Was her noble and proud life going to end just like that in this legendary sacred academy that was said to nurture ancient emperors? From afar, Huang Wudi, Bai Mao, and the others stared at the sky. Their eyes abruptly flickered as they saw a faint golden light shooting up into the sky. That might be Nie Yunchang, Huang Wudi spoke. After that, he increased his speed and sped in that direction. In another direction, several experts were gathered together. These were none other than the experts from the Battle Saint tribe and GD's followers who had blocked the pursuers for Chinger back then. At this moment, the immortal sense of GD's followers seemed to have sensed something. Their eyes gleamed with sharpness as they stared in the direction of Chinger. What a powerful spatial aura. Let's go. A powerful spatial energy radiated from her as well, causing her to be able to traverse through space and advance unceasingly. The experts from the Battle Saint tribe also sped forward, rushing in that direction. Even further away, Qin Wenyan had transformed into a giant. He stomped on the ground, causing the earth to rumble as fissures appeared. The experts from the Battle Saint tribe circled around him as they advanced together. Everywhere they passed by, the heavens and earth trembled, causing the hearts of many to tremble. Qin Wentian's incomparably gigantic body could be seen even from extremely far away. At the location where Nie Yunchang and Chinger were, after Nie Yunchang laughed maniacally, she stared at Chinger and spoke, "You are truly a hypocrite." Chinger stared at her unfamiliar senior sister as her expression turned cold. She still didn't hate Nie Yunchang, but the feelings she had for Nie Yunchang had completely vanished. This energy isn't under my control. In fact, I didn't even know that such a transformation would occur to me. But senior sister, since you feel this way, just treat it as me being a hypocrite. Chinger spoke. After that, she blasted out with her palm, forcing Nie Yunchang back. At this moment, the terrifying spatial energy around Nie Yunchang dissipated as her frozen body regained its freedom. She stared in bewilderment at the beautiful silhouette before her, as though she was surprised that Qin Wenyan would spare her. She then smiled. "Are you pitying me? Pitying me?" Qinga was speechless. She understood that no matter what she did, no matter what she said, it was useless. From afar, there were two powerful auras nearing them. However, they still didn't move. Not too long after, two auras simultaneously arrived not too far away. They were none other than Huang Wudi and his group, as well as their senior sister from the Battle Saint tribe. Upon seeing this scene, The people from the Battle Saint tribe and GD's group all started. GD's followers then asked, "Qing'e, what's wrong?" She actually discovered that there were traces of tears at the corners of Qing'er's eyes. Also, both Ni Yunchang and Qing'er seemed to be acting strangely. Huang Yudi and his group only arrived at this moment. In that case, were those auras caused by Ni Yunchang and Qing'er? They were actually fighting? Qing'er was speechless. That senior sister then turned to Ni Yunchang. Ni Yunchang's countenance was as cold as ice. She involuntarily spoke, "Yunchang, what did you do to Qing'er?" Ni Yunchang's countenance was ice cold. She stared at her senior sister and mocked, "Qing'er, look, senior sister is truly on your side." Yunchang. That senior sister's frown deepened. "Ni Yunchang, you can't even execute a sneak attack properly. You are truly trash," Huang Yudi coldly spoke. The expressions of GD's followers all changed, becoming exceptionally unsightly to behold. Sneak attack? Ni Yunchang actually sneaked an attack on Qing'er? But why did you do this? She questioned. Why? Why don't you ask her why she brought us into such a predicament? Why should I, Ni Yunchang, fight for her? Ni Yunchang coldly replied. Her senior sister fell silent when she heard that. She stared at Ni Yunchang before slowly speaking. The moment we entered G-Gate, we became sisters. Ni Yunchang, you are no longer fit to be Master's disciple. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.